I see dead people.
Hot shit.
Here's Johnny.
Stop.
We have such sights to show you.
Bring the motherfucking ruckus. Fuck you too.
The first thing I wanted to get into, real fast, was just Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes, happy Valentine's
I
Day.
named, so like on the podcast, the episode that's coming out this week, I called Happy Valentine's Day because it's dedicated to our Patreon, one of our Patreon subscribers. And he submitted a story to us, so I called it Happy Valentine's Day. Hal, because Hal is the one who submitted
Thanks, Hal.
multiple stories to us. Yeah. And so the episode that's coming out the week of Valentine's Day is dedicated to Hal, but we are recording here on Valentine's Day, and what a place to be for me to record with one of my favorite people on the podcast, and one of my favorite lady.
What is it? These are for, this one goes out to all the ladies in the audience.
Yeah, let's get this one is for all you smooth talking ladies out there. Don't you touch that dial, because we're bringing the hits one after a time.
One after another. Am I a smooth talking lady? Is it me? Could I be the smooth talking lady?
As she holds up a mirror and like talks to herself.
Oh my God, I better not touch that dial.
Who's that beautiful lady I see in front of me? Oh, it's me.
Me, Narcissus, gazing into the mirror, which is just my cell phone.
Selfie mode.
Something, I don't know. Like, something society. I give up. I hated art school.
As if we haven't talked about it enough.
Oh God, I know.
We already acknowledged you were the best thing to come out of art school for me.
No,
So
literally
nice
same.
to meet you.
Literally same. Literally same.
I gained nothing else.
No, nothing else. Nothing else.
Well, at least
You know,
you have a
it's-
couple other friends.
Literally,
I
just
don't know
Michelle.
if I have any other friends anymore.
It's you and it's Michelle. I wouldn't mind. I
Paul
don't know
told
if
me
you-
that he got sober, and I don't know if I want to be around him anymore.
You know what's funny is that I kind of do, just because I might like him.
Oh, come on. No, Paul High was the best part of art school, because we would go to every exhibit just stoned.
That sounds amazing.
Anything
actually.
we did together, like getting ready for our fucking senior thesis, stoned. Going to the fucking going to that house where we had to make food, stoned. Like,
I love that actually. I just remember doing. I have to say, I loved, my favorite memory with Paul was when we were doing that exhibition at that historical house, and we were in the kitchen just like doing shots.
yes. No,
That was great.
He never said no. And honestly, I'm surprised he is now. I don't know if like that brings into question the title of the story, which we will get into for this episode.
Yes.
Let me first welcome to Lots of Pasta. This is Lots of Pasta. I'm here with my wonderful co-host Cannibal Siren on today's Valentine's. Well, let's say, dare I say, woman fueled, raised by women episode.
Raised by matriarchy.
Made possible by the women around you.
Yes. Something so, yes.
Something to that effect?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny because my family is a matriarch.
But that's the thing. So that's the thing. I don't know how old Paul is now. Paul, you're not listening, but if you are, let me know how old you are. I have a feeling that he's like, you're not in your 30s yet, are you?
Oh yeah, I just turned 30 last
You
year.
just turned 30. Okay, so the
Yes.
title isn't going to have any bearing on you then. I thought there was a chance that the title might have had some bearing on you. Okay, so I assume, because I was the old head who had to go back and do school again when we were in school. So I assume Paul is your age. So Paul probably just turned 30, but I was trying to get him on the show somewhere, I don't know, a year or two ago before I moved. And I was like, why don't you come on in? And he was like, I'll come hang out, but I don't know if I want to come on the show. And I was like, why? And he was like, because I'm sober. And I was like, what a bummer. Like, I'm a bad friend. I'm a bad
Oh, me
friend
too.
because I want us to be under the influence of something. And
Oh, yeah.
he made a point to be like, no, I don't drink anymore, I don't smoke anymore, I don't touch anything.
Speaking of, I'm gonna just take a little hint right here. Hold on.
Yeah, no, it's a little too early for me. And my girl doesn't like me smoking in the house. So I would have to like go outside or go to the garage or something. It's too fucking cold for any of that.
We only hit I have like a couple of vapes.
Oh
And
yeah, no. If I had one of those, I would just convince her that it's the Glade plug-in in the corner. It's absolutely not me. That's not me. That's the Glade. I have the Glade set to weed.
to weed. It's delicious.
The weed Glade.
We only do the vapes in the house, and we only do it like every now and again. And specifically and hilariously, we also specifically only allow like weed vapes because the fucking nicotine.
Yeah, no, of course.
I can't stand
My
them.
uncle had me
I can't
driving
stand
around to every head shop in the Tri-County area trying to find the very specific nicotine vape he wanted. And I said, "What are you, gay?" And he was like, "Yes," because he is. But more to the point, I was just like, weed. Just weed. Why? What's with the nicotine? Why?
Literally. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I love a sneaky cigarette. I do love a sneaky cigarette. But like, just
I
fucking
haven't even
smoke
had one of those in like 3 or 4 years, to be totally honest.
Yeah, me neither.
No, like I really haven't. I wish I could say I have, but it was never. So age is going to be a part of this story, right? I turned 34. Or no, I turned 33. I'm turning 34 this year. I turned 33 in August. It is now February. The year of our Lord 2026. Welcome.
2026.
Welcome, lots of pasta to the 2026. It's the 10th year of the show this year, but not until like November. So our anniversary is in November, but welcome to a decade of hating your life alongside me. And age is an important conversation in this one because we are getting older. You know, we got to acknowledge we're getting older. And you know, I look at someone like Paul and he's like, yeah, you know, I'm not trying to do anything anymore. And I'm like, you know what? I am going to do all the things. I'm still going to do all the things because you know what? If one of those things is how I go out, then so be it. It's a part of me at this point. It's like my my robotic arm is just a joint. I've gotten back into rolling, honestly.
Oh hell yeah! See, I can't fucking roll.
I got back into rolling. I'm back to preferring a blunt, which is like it's something I haven't done probably since art school, to be totally honest. I was always a bong kid. Didn't I bring my bong over to your apartment once just to be like, hey?
Yes, you did.
I had like a little bubbler. I didn't bring the big guy. I brought like a little bubbler with me once.
I have a little bit of everything in my house actually. I have my mom actually just started growing her own stuff.
That's beautiful. I wish I could talk my girl into letting me do something like that here.
Oh my god, no. It's so mom
we
has
have so
like,
much space here though. I could get away with it.
You could. And I mean, my mom has a group of best girlfriends who she's known since she was literally a small child, like elementary school. And they're all in their 60s now. And one of them literally she's known since she was 2 weeks old because their moms were literally in the hospital, like having babies together. And so they, like, one of her besties lives in upstate New York in like the middle of nowhere by herself. And she grows all her own shit, and she came down to visit us. She's so fucking cool. I was like, man, I hope I see my future and it is bright. But she gave my mom all of these seeds when mom flew up to visit her because she was like, well, I can't take a bunch of this on the plane. She was like, no, but you could take seeds. And so my mom can like look at a plant and make it grow. And she lives in North Carolina in the backwoods, which is very wet and very hot. And they thrived, and it came out strong.
That's beautiful.
So now I have my own organic stuff here that my mommy grew for me.
Talk about homegrown. That's amazing. That's an amazing story.
And
I
now I have like, I got vapes, I got my one hitter, I have papers, I get like the cones so that I don't have to roll them.
That's fair. I mean,
And
you're
then
still trying.
I am still
You
trying.
still got the handcraft.
Yeah, I don't think I have a preference though out of them all, honestly. I can't like I'm not having any strong feelings
It
one way
ebbs
or
and
another.
flows. I'm stocked in edibles. I'll pop an edible
Ooh,
before going anywhere.
I love an edible. That's what
Yeah.
I'm out of, actually. That's the only thing I don't have
I
in my
even
house.
have. I've been selling everyone on this. I don't know if I sold you on this yet. It's called Good Time.
What is
Did I
it?
did I tell you about this?
I don't think so. I
Have you
want
heard
it. What
about
is
this?
it?
Have you seen this? Have you heard about it?
No,
So
I've
Good
never.
Time. It's like a syrup. It's a tincture
Oh
that
yeah,
you add to any drink.
that sounds amazing. I'm in.
You could take it as a shot by itself, and it's not quite THC. It's more of like a THC CBD hybrid.
That's fine though. I like CBD.
And same, starting to prefer it in a little bit of depending on the situation. But you they come in like little flavor, like the same type of thing you would buy a vape juice in, but you fill the cap with like what is the equivalent of like a half of a shot, and you dump it into a soda, a beer, iced tea, well, water if you really want to, or you just take it, you just shoot it, and it comes in 3 different varieties. Good Time, sponsor me. There's
Good time sponsor us.
sweet, sour, and hot, or spicy. Sweet, sour, spicy. I definitely prefer the sour. The sour is it's when I'm drinking like I don't know, like a Sprite or like a Mountain Dew or something, I'll take a shot of that sour and I'll put maybe 1 or 2 kicks into like whatever I'm drinking. And it gives you that smooth kind of like eventual edible high.
That sounds wonderful.
It's really good, and anyone can go to the website and they ship all over the country. It's because it's not THC, quote unquote, asterisk asterisk. They're able to sell it online.
That's like, what's so crazy is that last time I was in my hometown for Christmas, like I am every year. And we decided there are like bars in my hometown now, which is crazy because I learned while we were bar hopping in my hometown that apparently, like up until very recently, like as in within the last 10 years, anytime a bar would open up, the church would literally oppose it. And like the churches in the area, of which there are many, by the way,
How lame.
would get together and be like,
What a
no,
bunch of
no
party
bars in
poopers.
Hampstead. Literally. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That's so fucking.
You might as well just have a sign outside the town that says we're not allowed to have fun here.
And this was happening in like the 2000s. It's like this wasn't long ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
the year
it's
of our
what,
Lord. Yeah,
yeah, literally. What in the fucking 18th century Puritan was that?
I was
But,
gonna even say 1920s prohibition. Like, what do we think we're
literally.
doing?
Literally. So then in 2 of the bars that we went to, they had THC drinks on the menu.
Fuck
and I was
yeah.
like, are you shitting me? I could, my
Mary
friends
Jones?
used to, literally, my friend used to have, it's so funny that I actually grew up with a girl named Mary Jones down my road and we were like buddies.
Well, it's Jones sodas. And
Yes, I like Jones.
and Jones has fun flavors. And once I found out that they do a CBD THC division called Mary Jones, I was like, done. Where? And they were like, not here. And I was like, fuck.
Fuck.
How can
That's
you do
so
this to
funny.
me?
No, it was crazy though, because I got like I didn't get it at the first place because it was like a pre-canned thing. It might have been what you were talking about, honestly, but the second one, it was like a mixed drink, and I think it probably used a syrup similar to like what you were saying, but it was like a cherry limeade THC drink, and not only was it delicious, it was like it hit relatively quickly, and it was a very not like I would probably need to have like 2 or 3 of them honestly to really like. Be elevated.
Like what
But it was a
percentage do you
nice-
think they were? Is it the type of thing you'd remember?
I would say, I think that they said they had, I think it was 5 or 10 milligrams, I think.
Okay, because let me tell you, Mary Jones comes in fucking quantities. You could get a Mary Jones like fucking lemonade iced tea, like Arnold Palmer, spiked with THC at like 50%.
That's crazy.
You will
That would
be
probably
high
fuck me up.
all week.
I was about to say that would fuck me up, man.
I got one right before, so I was in California and I got one. I think it was a blue raspberry. It tasted like a blue ras A treat. And I got
Sounds
it.
nice.
I got it before going into Disneyland, and I drank about half of it, and I handed the other half to my buddy. We were high for like 3 days
That sounds amazing.
just from that soda.
Yay. Oh god. I love being 30. Some
Yeah,
things are actually
flirty
okay.
and 30. Yeah, no.
It
So
gets
sometimes
better.
it's okay to grow up. I'm appreciating my 30s more than I appreciated my 20s because I'm fixing a lot of the things wrong with me. Finally,
Yes.
it's
Finally.
the maintenance era, and I think you know I liked I liked how attractive I was in my 20s.
Mood. Tell me
I
about
go
it.
back and I look at pictures and I'm like, you had it. But that's the thing. I was having a long conversation with my buddy Deputy Dewey, who was on the last episode, and we were just like, we have these long, serious talks with one another so many times, like late at night, and it's like one of the long talks was like, how many people do you think you've been your entire life? And he looked at me like straight in the eye and he was like, I think I've been the same person my entire life. I've just changed little bits about me, but I don't think I've ever changed everything about me. And I was like, that's wild because I've changed everything about myself like 4 times. This is the 4th edition Captain Death that's been
4.0.
published. Yeah.
I love that.
Because every time I do something incredibly wrong, I make a point to correct myself. It might be overcorrection in some cases, but it's been with big life changes. So when a big life change happens, I pretty much have to say, okay, there's no going back to that.
I wonder. I think for me, I think I'm leaning more towards Deputy Dewey a little bit because I do think that there are many parts of myself that have been the same since I was fucking born.
Yeah.
Like I was born like this, but there's
She was
also,
born with it, folks.
I was born with it. I was born with this incredible bloodline.
Yes.
Absolutely
Yes.
unimaginable. Absolutely unimaginable bloodlust. But I don't know. There are things, there's like behaviors and like coping mechanisms, especially that I have worked very hard to change. So
Yeah.
I don't feel
Yeah,
comfortable saying
I know
I'm
exactly where we've had that conversation before. I know
you know,
where
so
you're at.
I don't feel comfortable saying I'm exactly the same person, but I think that the core of my personality is still ultimately the same for the most part.
I can vehemently tell you that I was not this person, even as little as 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a lot about me. I want to say so the reason I say 4.0 is because from 0 to 12 I was very meek. I was very quiet. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't really develop. I didn't know what I wanted. I wasn't aware of my own. I was just kind of floating through existence until I was 12. I think something finally hit. It was probably puberty. Once I figured out how my dick works, I was like, this might ruin my life. And it did. And that's when I would say I became the second version, which was the one that wanted to show off, the one that wanted to be bigger, the one that wanted to get noticed. The one that a decade of being ignored probably helped situate. And that didn't really wear off until I was probably 21 or 22, which was pre-college. It was post-college my first time, but it was pre-college my second time. And right around moving back home from northeastern PA, I kind of said, okay, well, I can't do that again. I can't do that again. So I need to change. I need to change my fundamental being so that I can't push everything down and run away from all my problems like I did the previous time. So that led me astray, and that's where I say that I turned into person number 3, which was the person that you met was number 3. And while obviously you enjoyed person number 3 enough to be friends with me,
Yes.
at that time I was doing a lot of course correction with a couple different things, but I had also been done dirty romantically, and that's where I probably made the most amount of mistakes romantically in my life, which was I became the bruiser that I often like hated. Like I became the heartbreaker. I know it's hard to imagine, Cannibal Siren, but I became the heartbreack. Like
That's not hard to imagine.
it's
You're
the
a
type-
Leo.
it's the type of thing where like so quick backstory, 0 to 12, version number 1 basically asexual, floating through life, didn't understand anything. Version
makes sense.
2, 3 of the biggest girlfriends I've ever had in my life. The one in high school that takes your virginity, the one that you think you're going to marry and inevitably don't, and then the one that takes you places, the one that takes you to the next person you're going to be. Version number 1 was stupid, and I regret letting her take my virginity. Version number 2 was stupid of me because I was naive and ignorant of how the world works. And version number 3 is where that naivety fucking fell because I got taken advantage of and cheated on and all this terrible stuff. And that's when I turned into everything she wanted me to be, which was someone who had experience and someone who went out and got fucked up and played the field. And it's so shitty to like look someone in the eye and be like, well, you haven't been with enough people.
Yeah, it's kind of brutal.
And I was like, so you're telling me that we can't be together because you want me to go out and fuck 30 other people before I come back to you? And the answer was kind of yes. And so that does a number on someone psychologically. And so when I went back to college, I did that exact thing to try and see if she was right, to see if like I needed to do that. Long story short, I absolutely didn't. Nothing good came out of doing that. I slept with anyone or anything that was remotely interested in me. And I tallied those fucking numbers up within the 4 years of art school. I did numbers on the Philadelphia campus. I did numbers at fucking Bryn Mawr. They don't want me on campus. I started to have like a name for myself at Bryn Mawr. Like there were like 2 or 3 girls I like quote unquote dated there that I probably would not be allowed back on campus. But it's the type of thing where like the more I like upset women by acting this way, the more I was like grossed out by myself.
Right.
And I was like, this was 100% not what I wanted at all. And that's when I became person number 4, which was essentially a combination of person 1, 2, and 3, where
That makes sense.
I know who I want to be for the rest of my life now, and it's not any of the issues I had with the first 3 versions, and that's the end of my story. That's where I am now. I'm not an asshole. I'm not a horn dog. I'm measured. I'm calculated. I've experienced my shittiness. And I'm moving on.
I think that I'm like the second or third version of myself, I think. I honestly think second I feel comfortable saying, like maybe 2.5. Because I feel like I still have a little more to do. And I mean, like, I had a very, very solid, happy, like well-adjusted childhood. And then things started falling apart when the economy did. And I feel like I was still the same kind of like outgoing kid, but now I had a lot of responsibility. And I was like watching my siblings and helping my mom around the house and like not going anywhere because I needed to watch my siblings and my mom was working 3 jobs. And so I think that I very quickly became like a very tired child. But it
Yeah,
was
you
still
grew up too fast.
me, like it was still me and I was still the same, but I was just so
You
tired.
didn't, yeah,
And like
you didn't have the energy in you to actually be a kid.
exactly. And then like and I was a kid though. It's like I was a kid, but
Well,
I wasn't
you were aged.
yeah,
The age you
exactly.
were was a kid, but you were not doing things kids did. You
Exactly. And I
grew
mean
up too fast, yeah.
all throughout high school, like I mean, I ate 1 meal a day at best, and I wasn't, which is why I was so fucking skinny. So anybody who complimented me on being skinny, fuck
Backhanded.
you.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Anybody who's like, oh, you looked better before because yeah, I gained a bunch of weight, but honestly, like good. I was so unhealthy. And I just like I was working so much. I was working so much. I was working 20, 30, 35, sometimes I'd hit 40 hours and going to school. And like I was just so tired. I was so tired. And then I graduate and like I had a bunch of really terrible things happen kind of back to back and it was just sort of like piling those things on. So I feel like I couldn't evolve because it was like it's like if you tried to get something to evolve, but you've stacked a bunch of bricks on top of it, you know? So I feel like I aged very rapidly and then I kind of stopped there for a while. And that continued through college. So I think that that's who you met when we met.
And
I
you
think
more or
met,
less have been the same person this entire time.
yeah, I think you met that version of me that was very, very, very tired. And then I think I sort of like started to shift things when I was in college where I was like, okay, I don't actually have to do absolutely every part of my life by myself. And it is okay to rely on people emotionally and to be vulnerable when things aren't going well. And like sometimes it actually makes things easier when you talk about what's going on instead of just barreling through like a workhorse. And I think that version of me is where I'm at now, where I've been sort of in the process for the last like probably 10 years of my life at this point. Yeah, recovering and like learning to sort of like embrace those like wounds and
Scars.
like or maybe not even
they're
embracing
just kind of
them.
scars at this point. I think it's more about recognition.
Yeah, it's like acknowledging they're there
Because
but not getting
they're healed at this point. You're not opening them anymore, but it's
No.
more about recognition. Just looking
is,
at
and I
them, being
mean,
able to be
and-
like okay with it.
Yeah, exactly. And like every now and again, it gets you. Like you look in the mirror and you see a scar and you're like, fuck, that shouldn't fucking be there. This sucks. There's no reason for me to have this. It's not fair. And all of those things are true and there's nothing you can do about it. And
That's
it's
fair.
there. And it's better to just be like, there's nothing I can do about this. It shouldn't be there. That's fucked up and sucks. And I'm going to go outside now and I'm going to go do something and I'm going to drink some water and I'm going to eat a vegetable and I'm going to
get
go on
some
a
sun.
podcast.
Yeah.
Sit in the sun, go on a podcast, record with my friend, read some stories,
Yeah.
pet a cat instead of just like,
Pet a cat.
standing here. Pet
Yeah.
a cat. Pet a cat.
I got a cat sitting right here in between me and my my laptop screen, and she's just been staring at my hand, and I have a feeling that when I reach for my mouse, she's gonna smack it.
Yes. I have Finn is to my left, but all of my cats are in the living room with me, but they're all sleepy. Which is crazy because you guys were so fucking awake at 7 this morning.
That was Penny. Penny is taken to I pet her and then she bites my hand. And she goes, "Wake up, I'm hungry." And then she takes a couple pets and then she immediately bites my hand. She goes, "I'm hungry, wake up, you're not getting up, you're not moving, bite."
Bite.
It's not mean, it's the softest. It's the kind of bite that tells me, like, without a doubt, if I were to die right here, she would consume me.
Wow, that's so beautiful. And you know what? Everyone who says, "Hey, your cats will eat you and you die," good. I'm glad.
Yeah, what a
That's
way to
I
go,
want.
honestly.
I want them to eat me.
As sustenance for an animal I love. whatever.
No, I told Freddie, I was like, "What if I die before you? I want you to throw my body in the woods and just let the animals have it." And he was like, "I'm not fucking doing that. Also, I'll get arrested." And I was like, "God, no one lets me do anything anymore." Ugh.
I don't even get anything, not even in death. Oh,
Yeah, I don't even get anything. I just want to be eaten by the wolves. You could even put me in a t-shirt that says all you can eat. It would be so funny. It would be so funny. Come on. It would be so funny.
oh, I love that. I honestly think like there should be a way that we could write our wills with these things in mind. Like it was all right. And now speaking for Cannibal Siren upon death, I am her lawyer, Captain Death. I'm here to tell the way she is written it, and I'm sorry, Freddie, you already know. She would like to be put in an all-you-can-eat buffet t-shirt and thrown into the woods for the animals to consume her corpse. Only after all that's left is bones may you then claim the bones and either grind them into powder to huff or perhaps make ornamental candelabras with.
You know me so well. It's reminding me of this ancient Tumblr text post, I think, where they're like, "My loved ones can have one bone from my corpse as a souvenir," or something like that.
I would make a bong with your skull.
Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, you should do that. That's what I would have wanted.
Oh, but here's the thing, and we're going to get into the story. Yeah, there's no way I'm going to outlive you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, men do statistically die first.
No, and I came to terms with that when I was 12, so it's fine.
I have to think about that because, I mean, honestly, for me, like, I'm like 50-50 either way because my mom's dad died pretty young, but her mom lived to her 90s. And then my dad's parents, his dad also died pretty young. But his mom also, she didn't die young, but she died due to medical neglect. So I'm not sure, like, if I would count that, you know?
Yeah, no, that's outside
So
circumstances.
Yeah, so I've got like a 50-50 shot.
Let's
I'm
just
either
call
gonna
it
die in
blind
my like
faith.
50s or 60s, like out of nowhere, or I'm gonna live till I'm in my 90s. I don't think
I'm
there's gonna be an
hoping for the
in-between.
latter, honestly.
Assuming that no natural disaster or accident gets me first,
That's
which
fair.
would be
Yeah, who
kind of
knows?
lame, so I'm hoping that's not the
Yeah,
case.
who knows if natural disasters land.
prefer
Then,
to- I would prefer
everyone
to go
goes
out
under the
myself.
same bullet. Yeah. Let's call it blind faith
Nobody
that I'm
kills
out
me.
of here somewhere in the next 30 years because all the people in my family are still alive. All my grandparents are still kicking, blood related. All of them are still kicking, and I don't want to be. I don't want to get to that age and be still alive. So I've told Alley Cat numerous times that when I cash in for my senior discount, where do you do that? Do you go to a DMV? Do you get an updated license that says I'm 65? Is that where the seniority comes in? Because I'd like to think it's a DMV for the reason of walking in there with a gun and just putting it in my mouth and pulling the trigger and making everyone in the DMV deal with that day.
That's what I want to do. I want to be like as inconvenient as possible in death. Like I want to be, it's like, God, I remember when I was living in Philly, I would say on a semi-regular basis, not like all the time, but often enough that it happened more than once. Someone would like jump in front of the subway.
Oh my God.
And everyone would be like, ugh.
Yeah, you're not sad, you're just inconvenienced.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it. All right. Let's read the title and talk about the title for a second because you said I sent you the file and you said that is one hell of a title. I can't wait.
All of the women in my family die at the age of 27. And then I think
yeah.
Sorry.
No. Give me your first thought with that. Because you definitely go somewhere when you read that.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, I kind of love it. And it's funny because we actually just finished our first playthrough of Silent Hill F.
Fuck yeah.
And like, I was really, really fascinated by it because like, we all know about like the earlier Silent Hill games and like Pyramid Head and how it's like.
Glitch has played that 7 times. He's
Wow,
played
good
through
for
that
him.
entire game. I think he's on his like 8th or 9th playthrough. And he hasn't recorded any of them. I'm like,
I love
your
that.
channel should just be 9 playthroughs of Silent Hill F. What are you
It
doing?
should. It should. It should.
And
It
he's
absolutely should.
just like, yeah, I don't know.
I like, well, it's so fascinating to me because like, okay, so we've got Pyramid Head, which is like a depiction of like, like the horror of masculinity, right?
Yes, yeah.
And
James's unbridled rage.
exactly. But like what I loved about like Silent Hill F is that I feel like they finally started to crack open like the horror of like femininity.
Oh yeah.
And of like
yeah.
and of like and I mean the protagonist is a teenage girl and she doesn't want to be, and like I was so
that.
like that.
Yeah.
I was so like that. I mean, like I literally had like a whole boy phase. Like I wouldn't wear anything. Like the minute it was literally the second I hit puberty, I was like, no, I don't want this. I don't want anything to do with this. This is terrifying. And it like because it's very scary to be a child and then suddenly you're not, but you still feel like a child, but everyone around you is telling you that you're not anymore because you have a uterus and now suddenly you're bleeding and you're only 13 years old. And everybody thinks that's terrifying.
There's a quote from a movie that I ascribe to a lot. I don't know. I know the actor. It's the dad from Step Brothers. He's fantastic in everything he's in. But there's a quote in a movie or TV show where he looks at someone and he's like, listen, I'm the same person I was when I'm 19, but when I look in the mirror, I just see an old man.
God, yeah.
And it's just, and it's to the point that like, no, we are what we are. We're just getting older. We're still making the same mistakes. We're still doing the same dumb shit. You know, I'm the same person I was, but I'm just, my body's just getting older. So I think there's a part of me that's just like, yeah, no, I look at all the dumb shit in my room and all the stuff I collect and I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm a child. I am absolutely a child. This is a part of the wish fulfillment that I wasn't able to get when I was younger.
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? Every time I have like a day to myself and I can play video games on the TV all day and like, get high and eat a bunch of snacks that I don't have to share or worry about vanishing.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like,
I will do that. Yeah.
This is for me.
Yep.
There's so many things in my house. When I was a little girl, I had a purple room with fairies on the wall, and now I'm a 30-year-old woman and I have a purple living room.
With fairies on the wall?
Fairies, yeah, with fairy
Unicorns?
art on the wall. Yeah, I do. I literally have a stuffed unicorn in here somewhere.
Hell yeah.
I have a
So
stuffed unicorn.
the first thing about the title I wanted to address was reiterating the title, all of the women in my family die at the age of 27. I gotta say, 27's too young.
It is. 27
27's too young. So inherent in the title is already trauma. Yes. Because 27 is admittedly too young. If it
So
was
young.
37, I'd be like, all right, fair. Half-life. You're at your half-life. Statistically speaking, you're at your half-life. If it's 37, most people don't make it to their 70s. It's a fact. Most people don't make it to their 70s. Most men don't make it to their 70s. So for women, it's just like, okay. If it was 37, I would be like, okay, that's just it's a 50-50 shot, flip a coin. At 27, it's sad.
Your life's just starting.
At 27, it's sad. Where were you at 27?
Where was I?
Because I was finishing school and getting into the brunt of this podcast when I was 27.
I was living in Wayne, outside Philly, and I was fucking miserable. I was miserable. We were so broke. I was like desperately making grocery lists and trying to stick to them. I was shopping with a calculator and then getting fucked because inflation was happening. So every year that I went in, every like week that I went into Walmart, something would increase by 10 cents and we would have to go without an extra thing. If my life ended at that point, would have been kind of a downer.
Yeah, but also like it's the type of thing where like you wouldn't have been surprised because you were already on a slump.
Yep. I would have been
Just one
pissed,
bad
bro.
day, stepping off the wrong curb at the wrong time, right in front of a truck or a bus or something.
Pretty much.
So here's the thing. When I read this title, I do think of a video game. So it's interesting that you thought of Silent Hill F. I think of what's it called? Edith Finch.
Oh yes, I love that game.
So do I. I've been trying to get my girl to play it, and she's like, I don't want to be sad. And I'm like, you need to be sad sometimes.
It's you need to be sad sometimes.
No, like there's that makes me sound kind of awful.
No, it's so funny. No, don't explain it.
Okay.
Just leave it there.
No,
just kidding.
There's stuff going on in her life that I just don't think she's recognizing, and there are things that are going to happen that I think she's going to fight, and it's like, no, you need to acknowledge them, and a big part of life is death.
Yes, huge, perhaps the biggest.
There's something beautiful about that game and the way that it illustrates it. And I think it's one of those games that I think not only can everyone play it because it's super accessible, but everyone should play it because of the message and because of the story and because how it kind of gives you a reverence for death, a beauty in death, like acknowledgement. Base level acknowledgement for death. It's like death is in the room. You know, he just wants to say hi.
It's a reverence. It's like and what I loved about Edith Finch too is that it's a reverence for death, but also a reverence for life. And like and like I mean, there's so much of our lives are lived because of the existence of death. And like and it's so interesting because I feel like Edith Finch is like a perfect illustration of how like living your life because you're going to die can look so different from person to person.
Yeah.
Because for some people that can be like, because it is horrifying. Death is horrifying. It's painful. It's miserable. I've experienced a lot of it in spite of only just turning 30. And it never gets easier no matter what the circumstances or situation is. And I think that can eat people alive because it is frightening and it is scary to know there's something that you can't get away from and that will happen to you and to everyone you know and love. But that also means that this is all you've got. And for some people, this is all I've got means that they don't do anything because it's too scary.
No. And that's where I'm like, no, I would say ever since I was maybe, again, like 12. 12 is just a good number for when I fucking woke up. But ever since I was 12, I think I've been sitting in bed late at night just going like, well, if I'm going to die, then I might as well do what I want.
Yeah, exactly.
With the time because that I have, like, you know.
Right, and that's how I feel about it. It's just like
it's an eventuality.
It's an eventuality, but it's not a now, right? Like right now. And even if it is.
No, there are people who get paralyzed by the thought of it. I hear you.
Exactly. And I've been that person. I've absolutely been that person. It's very, very hard to reconcile and it is scary, but also like, this is it. This is it. This is it. So I need it to be good. You know, like this is it. So I need it to be good. I can't imagine being like,
I don't think I've ever put this into word. I don't think I've ever said this out loud, but it's a thought I've had before and I'm willing to express it with you here now, live on this episode. I think that when I die, there's going to be a solemn moment of recognition where I just kind of hopefully it's not super fast, but I just look up and go, so this is how it happens. Mm-hmm. Where I just kind of look out into the universe and let it happen.
Yeah, valid.
And there is something kind of hopeful and peaceful about that because there are a million terrible ways to die.
Oh yeah. Very terrible.
I've been telling myself for like a long time, I've known this since I was maybe 19. I have heart problems. It's gonna be my heart. My heart's gonna go at some point. It's just gonna give up. And I think that in that moment, hopefully I'm at home, surrounded by people I want to be around. And I hope there's that moment of recognition where I'm like, fucking curtains. Y'all. Peace.
Backflip into the abyss.
Implied. Yeah, implied.
Yes.
Sure. But I've never voiced that before. And I just think like everyone is going to have a different perspective of it. And I'm putting mine out there.
I love it. I think that's cool, actually.
I think I came to terms with it like just a long time ago. I was just like, there have been too many signs and too many things like pointing into my life at a certain thing where I've been told something by someone and it just feels like that's going to be it. You can only be told that there's so many problems with your heart before you're like, this is going to be the death of me.
No, I totally agree. I think it's just realistic.
It doesn't mean now, though. That's the point of the conversation. Like, it doesn't mean now. So am I going to do anything to improve my heart health? Is there such a fucking thing? Like, no. I'm going to keep smoking weed. Thank you.
Mood. Mood. But also, though, like, I don't know. I think that in the context of this story, just like based on like the premise alone, I think it's so interesting. Because I mean, I'm going to come at this from the perspective of being a woman. And I think that I remember when I was in college, I was in like some kind of, I think I was in like a gender studies class. I don't remember if I told you about this already. So stop me if you've heard this one before.
I won't stop you.
But they had us basically list out like all of the identifiers we could think of that would like describe ourselves, you know, like our sexuality, like our class, the things we like and dislike, like our you know, all of these things, right? And then they had us slowly like eliminate things based on like what was the most important to us. And so I'm like eliminating things and eliminating things and eliminating things, and we just did it and did it and did it until one thing was left. And for me, it was being a woman. That was the only thing that was left. I was like, this is the most important thing to me.
Wow.
And it was very, very powerful. And I didn't like, it was such a casual kind of exercise. And I think that it stuck with me after the fact. And
was the elimination process like you were measuring two things against one another and you were slowly getting rid of things that way? And like you were trying to hold on to what was more important to you?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. It was like, all right, out of all of these things, pick like, you know, this many that are like more important than the others. And
so
then,
the list was like my love of pickled objects versus my identity as a woman. And you went,
tough one.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it started out casual, right? And then it gets like more and more specific and more and more specific and more and more specific.
I don't think,
and then one thing
I think there's ironically a brotherhood about being a woman. There's an identifier that pulls everyone together about womanhood that says we are all in this together. That does not exist for men. Men will always be at each other's throats, at war, finding reasons to blame one another. We don't have that. So if you're asking me like where I measure my manhood on a scale like that, it's one of the first things to go. I don't like sports. I'm not very masculine. I don't try to be super aggressive. Being a man is pretty much out the window with me. That's other than my cock. Like, you know, like here we are. You know?
Matters. Yeah.
Oh my God, I just choked on my water.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
No, it's hilarious. Hilarious. Part 1 has like a 4-word title.
Okay.
And the 4-word title is so to reiterate the title one more time, because we're getting into it now. All of the women in my family die at the age of 27. And this is from Reddit No Sleep.
My favorite.
The part 1 is titled I turned 28 in 2 hours and 32 minutes.
32 minutes.
So what is like long. No, but it makes it puts you in the fucking pilot seat for your existence to say, am I going to make it? And for the life of me, I can't help but think like, hey, I'm going to put on Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, and by the time we get to Helm's Deep, I might still be alive.
I love it. It's true though. I'm wondering. I wonder if this is a they die at the end kind of story.
I don't know. I know nothing. I know nothing.
But I'm excited. To find out.
Impressions say that it could go any way. I would love for it to be this cathartic kind of conversation where she's like, "I'm the first woman in my family to not die."
Yes.
But I don't know. Who knows?
We don't know.
Who knows what
It is
direction?
in first person, so it has to end one way or another.
All right, go for it.
My dad always wanted a son. He got 3 daughters instead. He hated us all. Hated my twin sisters, hated my mother, but hated me most of all because I was the last child my mother had before she died. That didn't stop him from treating me like his little boy. Didn't stop him from attempting to beat the hatred of my own gender into me. Quit your crying, he'd snap, or you'll end up like your sniveling bitch of a mother. After years of that shit, he was shocked that I grew up as a tomboy. I think he hated that even more because I was just a constant reminder of what he never got to have. My mother died when she was only 27, when I was only 4. The coroner ruled her death as a natural passing, some weird heart complication that took her out in her sleep.
There you go.
My dad, though, says it was because of her family's curse. Whenever I came to him desperate for more information about a mother I never really knew, he never had much to say. I'm convinced he was just drunk since the day she died. Every woman in her damn family, they die when they're 27. He'd sputter in between belches, his breath reeking of stale beer. I think the real curse is that my mom was the one to die and not him. I wasn't fully convinced by the ramblings of a perpetually drunk man, but then I lost both of my sisters just months before their 28th birthday. I knew it couldn't be a coincidence. Moira was found murdered, her face practically blasted off by a shooter when she was on a jog.
Yeah, we were talking about the bad ways that this could go. Yeah.
Pretty
Face
bad.
blasted off while you're out on a fucking jog. Yeah.
Pretty bad, yeah.
Sorry, Moira.
Yeah, sorry, Moira. Joy took her own life only a few days later.
That's also bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. I was the one who found her, hanging in the bedroom of her apartment as I came to pick her up for Moira's funeral. She'd been there swinging from the rafters all night.
Fuck.
Brutal. It's hard to live a normal life when you know you have an expiration date, especially when it encompasses an entire year. I always dreaded my birthday, which from an early age became associated less with fun and birthday cake and more with worry and funeral caskets. But once Moira and Joy died, my next birthday, 25, was the most dreadful day of my life. 26 was worse. 27, unimaginable. This is it, I thought as I closed all of the blinds in my apartment, downing the last drop of vodka in the bottle. This is the last year of my life. 27 has been uneventful, to say the least. Why would I make any long-term plans, forge any meaningful relationships when I know they simply cannot last? The worst part of this last year has been simply not knowing when my impending death is coming. It could have been any day in the last 364. It could be within the next minute. I must admit I became something of a recluse. My windows always shuttered, additional locks installed in my door, letting the phone ring through to voicemail, hiding under my covers with the lights out whenever I get a knock on my door. I stocked up on preserved foods and various goods that I would need to last the year. I was so paranoid that I even covered my mail slot, stuffed a towel in the space beneath my front door. I didn't want anything getting through from the outside world, God forbid an anthrax letter. Falling off the face of the planet didn't matter much anyway. I didn't have any friends or family anymore. My mother and both of my sisters were dead, and my dad disowned me when I came out as a lesbian after my sisters died. I moved away and severed contact soon after.
I would have disowned my dad long before that happened.
Yeah, literally. He can go fuck himself. The night before my 27th birthday, I started getting these strange phone calls from a blocked number. I've always had anxiety about phone calls, so I just let it ring. The number kept calling, at least once per day throughout the past year, and then the knocking started, once a week at first, but it's only been getting worse. More frequent, and the pounding on the door more frantic each time. Convinced it had something to do with my inevitable death, I've been driven mad by the unknown visitor, especially over the last week. I said last night knowing that tomorrow, today, now, is the day I will turn 28. My time had run out.
I don't know. I think that means that you're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, literally. I mean,
You've gotten to the last day of your 27th year, and you have this family curse in the fucking rear view. I'd pat yourself on the back.
I was about to say, I mean, honestly, it feels like so far she's made it further than anyone else.
Yeah.
My time had run out, and I searched for comfort in a bottle of liquor.
See, that's where you're going to do yourself dirty, though. You got to keep your head on your shoulders.
I'm honestly like, I love the trope of generational curses, and I love the idea that believing, what is it called, conceptual embodiment, if you believe in something hard enough it becomes real.
Yeah. Yes.
Just something to think about. My time had run out. I searched comfort in a bottle of liquor. I didn't find it. I fell into bed drunk and delirious and prayed the morning wouldn't come, though I knew it would. I eventually got to sleep, but it was restless and unsatisfying. The kind of sleep where you feel like you have one eye open, always watching. That's why I was quick to wake when the door to my bedroom creaked open early in the morning before the first sign of light. I shot up in my bed, glancing around my room in a frenzied panic, at first seeing nothing out of the ordinary other than the door, pushed slightly ajar. A closer look revealed something I'd missed, something that sent my heart racing and froze me to my core. Two dark figures stood in the empty space behind the half-open door, unmoving, almost like a pair of statues. Watching, waiting, wordless. Leave me alone, I squeaked, unable to move, paralyzed in the power of their presence. The shadowy figures instead shuffled out from behind the door, creeping slowly toward me in the dark. I knew this would certainly be the end of my life, the fulfillment of my curse, if I didn't act. Suddenly recalling the self-defense methods I'd drilled into my mind, I flipped my bedside lamp on to stun the intruders and reached underneath the table to pull out the knife I'd duct-taped there a year ago, a 27th birthday gift to myself. As soon as the light flooded the room, though, I knew the blade would be of no use. This is escalating quickly.
Yeah.
My intruders were not a pair of assassins, not human ones at least. In the yellow light of the lamp, I discerned the identity of the dark figures. They were my sisters. Joy stood at the foot of my bed, pale in that same conservative black dress I'd found her dead in years ago, the one she'd picked out for Moira's funeral. Her head hung parallel to her shoulders, neck grotesquely bent from her hanging. Moira was a few steps behind her. I assume it was her, considering the severity of her injuries. She'd suffered a gunshot wound to the head so brutal that we were not allowed to see her after her death, so intense that it had entirely disfigured her face. The lower half of her face had been reduced to a pit of gore, her jawbone barely attached on one side, her mouth mangled with only several teeth remaining studded randomly throughout the mess. "Why are you here?" I cried, gathering my knees to my chest, holding them tight. Are you here to take me?" Joy made a feeble attempt to shake her head, the side of her face only brushing weakly against her shoulder. She waited several moments before putting one of her feet in front of the other, moving towards the side of my bed. As I recoiled instinctively, she slowed her pace. Moira trailed after her until they were both right beside me. I whimpered as Joy leaned over me, her head flopping forward suddenly with the motion, neck cracking sickeningly. With her lips brushing against my ear, she whispered, She tried." Her speech was labored and wheezing, as if her vocal cords had been nearly shredded. "What do you mean, Joy?" I pleaded. Her lips moved against my ear once more, but no sound came out despite a clear, strenuous effort. Moira wagered an attempt at answering my query, but only succeeded in sputtering blood from the gaping wound in her face, ejecting one of her remaining teeth on the floor as her jawbone swung precariously, barely hanging on. Gross. Honestly, girl, I don't think you should have tried that.
Yeah, no, it's not going to take.
She raised one hand, slowly curling it into a fist before striking her knuckles furiously against my bedpost. The incessant sound startling me, I forced my eyes shut tight and pulled my knees even closer to my chest. Moira's knocking seemed only to escalate in volume, seemed to go on forever until finally it stopped. I cracked open my eyes to find that both of my sisters had vanished and that the light of the early morning had begun to spill in through the slats of my blinds. It was just past 6 o'clock on the 7th of June, the day of my 28th birthday. I was born at 9:26 a.m. Once I learned of the curse, I burned the time of my expiration into my mind. I only had 3 hours and 16 minutes left to live, if I even had that long. Draping my covers over my head, I resolved to spend the rest of my life asleep. I figured I'd rather pass peacefully in my sleep like my mother did than suffer a fate similar to my sister's. My plans were interrupted, however, by that damn knocking on the door. The interruption usually didn't come so early in the morning. I decided to initially ignore the strange visitor, but pulled the blankets back down soon after a certain sense of familiarity struck me. The pounding on the door reminded me all too much of Moira's knocking just moments before. It easily could have been a trick of the curse, but something compelled me to approach the door. "What do you want?" I called from behind the barrier, clinging to the relative safety it offered. The reply came from an unfamiliar man's voice.
I just have a letter for you, miss.
Just slide it under the door, and please leave. I returned, using my bare foot to remove the towel I used to block the small space beneath it. He deposited a bright yellow envelope under the door, as I requested. I waited quietly for the sounds of receding footsteps before sliding on a pair of gloves to handle the letter. It was addressed to me simply by first name and with no address. Carefully, I unsealed the envelope to reveal a birthday card. I hadn't received one in years. Bright, sparkling letters on the front formed the words, "Daughter, you're 27. I scoffed at the sick joke. I hadn't received a birthday card since I was a child, and my dad couldn't even get my birthday right. I didn't think he even knew my address. I cracked it open gingerly to read the message inside. "Laura, if you're reading this, your father has killed me. Don't believe a thing here the police say. I was not the target of a random attack. I did not die of natural causes, and I certainly did not commit suicide. I would never leave you if I had the choice. The truth is, I died because I found the truth behind my family's curse and foolishly told your father. He was in on it the entire time, planted in my life by some secret society to eradicate me, to eradicate us. What we have is not a curse, it is a gift of immense power. The power to heal, but the power to harm just the same. We come into our power at the age of 28, a number associated with independence, leadership, and self-sufficiency, an age where we can handle the responsibility such a power inevitably comes with. It's a strong number, and you will come into a great strength, though you've always been a strong girl. I hope you've made it this far, but at the same time, I know you have. You were always a feisty little girl. For the 4 years I had the pleasure of knowing you, of loving you. You never let anyone tell you what to think or what to do, especially not your father. Happy birthday, I love you. Mom." Damn.
P.S. Anthrax letter.
Anthrax letter. I closed the card softly, thinking of the strained words of my sister. Mom had tried to warn them, but they didn't listen. The pieces of the puzzle slid into place. My dad must have murdered Moira, and Joy ended her own life out of grief and a belief that she would inevitably be next. At the time of writing this, I only have 2 hours and 32 minutes until I officially turn 28. Over the past hour or so, I've already begun to feel the power flowing into my body, electrifying as it runs through my veins. I will the towel to reposition itself under the door, and it does so, sliding across the floor on its own. I need to keep myself safe until 9:26 after all. I'm planning on surprising my father with a visit for my birthday.
Yeah, I mean, we already had a bad feeling about Dad to begin with, but now we know he's maybe even the perpetrator.
It's more than just alcoholism.
Yeah. No.
The irony of a curse that only affects women being inflicted on them by their father/husband is not lost on me.
Yeah. I mean, the scapegoat nature of being told a certain narrative your entire life when the opposite is the truth is also the irony is not escaping me. All right, so part 2, I turned 28 a week ago. So we are, hey,
okay.
She made it.
She made it.
But it seems like now that we know the truth, it's not going to be that simple.
We're gonna get some fucking crazy shit going on.
Some fuck shit, as you like to say.
Some fuck shit, exactly. Some fucking shit.
Last Sunday at 9:26 a.m., I turned 28. I suppose that sounds pretty uneventful on its own, but I'd grown up my entire life believing that I was cursed to die at 27 like the rest of the women in my family. It turns out that the curse was just a way to cover up the truth, that at 28 I would develop extraordinary powers. My father had killed my mother, and at least one of my sisters. Now I was planning on leaving my story there, but I guess I underestimated just how hungry you are for a revenge tale. Always hungry.
Always. Every time.
I wish I could say that what I'm about to tell you is just that, a simple tale of revenge perfectly executed, a gaping generational wound neatly closed with a few stitches. Having been lied to all of my life, I value honesty. I'm not going to lie to you. If that's what you're looking for, I suggest you stop reading now because an entirely new source of terror has come to light. After I read my birthday card last Sunday, I waited anxiously for the clock to hit 9:26. I'd been feeling the power start to trickle into me early in the morning, but once the second hand made its full lap around to move the minute hand to tick just after the 5, a jolt of energy passed through my body. It was almost painful, like how I imagined being struck by lightning might feel, but at the same time it felt good. I felt important. Powerful, strong, so strong that it even scared me. As I eagerly accepted the full extent of my powers, I found myself in what I can only describe as a vision, an alternate setting that materialized all around me at once. Logically, I knew that I was still in my living room with my feet planted on the familiar wood flooring, but the ground beneath me felt rough, uneven, gritty. I glanced down to find myself standing upon a shelf of sandy rock just steps from the edge of some great cliff. Fear rendered me mute at the top of that cliff, and I swear I could feel the wind whipping all around me, hear the waves crashing furiously below, feel the briny ocean water misting my face. I leaned forward, peering precariously over the edge at the churning sea and its infinite black and white froth. I found its movement back and forth, push and pull, comforting in its predictability, until it seemed as if something shifted to upset the flow, something unseen, but its effects impossible to deny. There was something down there, something huge enough to alter the tides, yet hidden beneath the waves. It was Cannibal Siren.
It was me.
It was me. More
It was
horrifying.
me smoking a cigarette, like, yeah, girl, come on,
Yeah.
jump on down, baby. It's gonna be okay.
More horrifying still was the palpable feeling that something wanted me to jump, to dive headfirst into the dark sea below. I felt a presence beneath the waters, something ancient, unseen, vastly more powerful than I could ever hope to be, and whatever it was, it wanted me to jump. But it didn't have to force me. It had all the time in the world, and it could wait. The vision fell apart as quickly as it had materialized, my comfortable reality reconstructing itself anew in mere seconds. I frantically shook my head to oust the troubling image, to rid myself of the powerful draw it had on me. I had a job to do, but first I had to figure out what exactly I could do. I knew I could move things simply by willing it to happen with my mind, but I was startled by the sudden ease of it. Focusing on a glass of water on the table, I attempted to move it just slightly to the left, but instead it flew off the surface, shattering as it hit the wall. I rushed to clean up the mess, plucking shards of glass from the carpet, groaning at the wet spot. To my surprise, once I glanced down at the dampened carpet, droplets of liquid started to rise from the floor until the spot had vanished, the condensation suspended in midair. It's hard to explain,
Nice.
but I just moved it until I finally released to deposit the water in the sink. Yeah, it's some Chronicle level shit.
All right. Good for
Love
her.
Chronicle. Before you say anything, I know. It was stupid to test this out on something so fragile, but My powers didn't exactly come with an instruction pamphlet. A dull ache grew in my heart as I realized I should have been learning this with my mother, and I longed for her more than I had in years. Like a young child desperately reaching up with outstretched arms, I wanted my mommy. I couldn't help but think of the fear I felt at the first time I got my period. It sounds silly, but I was bleeding and I thought I was dying simply because I didn't have my mom there to explain it to me. And my dad couldn't be bothered to parent his child. My dad, the thought of him came with an overwhelming rage. With my senses alive in a way they'd never been before, I felt every cell in my body teeming with kinetic energy until the light bulb in the lamp burst beside me. I hesitated as I pondered the vision, but none of that was important just then. It was time I paid my old man a visit. Though he could never repay me for the losses I'd endured, I intended to collect the one thing that would come close: his miserable life. I started for my room to pack a small bag, but before I knew what had happened, I'd slammed my head first into my bedroom door. Shit, I muttered, rubbing a palm over what would certainly be a bruise forming across my forehead. I figured then that I could move much faster now that I'd have to be careful. This certainly made preparing for my impromptu trip easier, though so I was down in the garage much quicker than expected. I slid into my car and slipped my key into the ignition. A familiar paranoia forced me to hesitate before opening the garage door, but I pushed through it just as I pushed through the button to meet the outside world for the first time in a year. Wincing as the morning light spilled into the dark room, I guessed I forgot just how bright the sun really is. I popped open the glove box to retrieve a pair of sunglasses. I'd put them on before pulling out of the garage, out of safety I'd clung to for so long. I'm surprised there wasn't like a fucking sniper shot like immediately.
No, literally.
The drive was fairly ordinary, though fear set in as I thought on all my questions that remained unanswered. Why had my father killed my family? Why lie about some curse? And most unnerving of all, who had delivered the letter? Was it just some trick to get me out of hiding? Was I wandering into a trap? Yeah, I mean, power is hard. Power is hard to describe. It's like, you know, you're giving us the Marvel superhero side of it, but like, to what end? To the cause and effect? What's it going to do? What's
exactly
its implication? Like, is this actually something like we've already divined to some cult order that is, you know, looking to this to be, you know, quelched?
Yes.
So it's like, to what end?
Yes, that's my question.
To avoid spiraling deeper into uncertainty, fear, and worry, I spent some time thinking on my past about my mother's death. Then both of my sisters within days of one another years later. I recalled coming out to my dad soon after that in a desperate plea for acceptance, for love from my one remaining family member. Then I thought of the hateful response and a traumatizing attack I endured weeks later that solidified my decision to cut all ties and move away. We hadn't spoken in all those years, but I was ready to face him, at least I hoped. I couldn't be sure what awaited me, couldn't be sure at all. I parked on the street across from our old family home 6 hours later, where his old Navy truck sat in the driveway. I took a moment to collect myself at his front door, tightening my ponytail as I steeled myself for a task at hand. Then I directed my energy into the barrier until it exploded inward, allowing my body to carry me at full speed into the living room where I knew I'd find him. As expected, he was sitting there. What I didn't expect to see was the gun he had pointed at my head. I took hold of it with my mind, flinging it across the room. Laura, he stammered, a dumb look on his face. What the hell are you doing here?
What the hell are you doing, Dad?
I retorted, gesturing to where the gun had fallen with a nod of my head.
How did you find me? Why did you send the letter?
A perplexed look crossed his features, one that told me he had no idea what I meant. His lack of knowledge did little to comfort me. Someone had still found me, had drawn me out of hiding. At that moment, I think he realized the situation he'd found himself in and what I intended to do. He started to scramble up from his chair, but I redirected my focus on his body, pressing him back into it.
You don't get to leave, Dad.
I seethed. He coughed as I increased the pressure on his chest.
For once, you will listen to me.
He strained against my influence, but he was stuck, and he knew it.
I know you killed Mom and Moira, maybe Joy too. I know you lied about the fucking curse.
I started, a flicker of anger surging as I acknowledged the harsh truth out loud.
But the question I can't stop asking myself is why? Why wait so long to kill us? Why even have us at all?
Hesitating, he glanced frantically around the room for an escape. I glared at his hands in his lap, then brought my attention to his thumb, filling it with my energy until the bones within shattered, an ivory shard piercing through his flesh. As I moved my stare to his index finger, he wailed in agony, interjecting, "No, don't! No! Okay. Shit." He took a deep breath as blood splurted from his maimed appendage. I was supposed to have a son. When your mother failed to provide one, I was told to kill her off, to wait to see if you or your sisters could have a son. I just did as I was told. A cowardly response from a cowardly man.
Who told you?
I pressed, pulling his index finger back slowly, waiting. He didn't respond until after I'd snapped the digit at the knuckle. Please, he begged, tears running down his wrinkled face. He looked at his mangled hand, horrified, as his middle finger began to lift next. Some sort of cult. They breed the women in your family. The women are killed under the curse and their sons quietly taken away. I don't know what they want with them, but they said all I had to do was give them a son. Then kill your mother, your sisters, you. I'd be set for life. But you and your sisters, you bitches, you weren't having any children. Especially not you. When you told me that you'd gone against God, I realized that you'd never have any kids, that you were the only one left, so I took measures into my own hands. With that admission, I'd crumpled his entire hand into itself, his splintered bones jutting out at all angles.
You don't mean...
I breathed, my voice cracking despite my efforts not to give him the satisfaction of having him hurt me. He groaned in pain before returning with a low, guttural laugh. You didn't think that attack was random, did you? He asked, wheezing. Harsh memories of the brutal invasion forced upon me, the assault I'd endured, resurfaced all at once, suddenly taking on a new meaning as I understood my father's part in my trauma, that he'd sent my attacker. Both my focus and my hold on him broke. He leapt up, surprisingly quick on his feet after all these years of sedentary alcoholism. I attempted to will him back to his original position, but I couldn't. I felt like a little girl once more, cowering by the stairs as her daddy's shadow loomed closer. I was weak, powerless. Again in the face of my father, a man who'd done nothing but hurt me, a man who'd ruined my life in more ways than I could have possibly known. I tore after him through the kitchen and down the hallway until I finally cornered him, taking hold of him and slamming him into a wall. A salty odor perfumed the air as a wind swept through.
Did it make you feel like a big fucking man to take everything from me? To kill my mother? To take my sisters away?
I screeched in an unearthly bellow. An incomprehensible power flowed in and out of me. I watched, frozen, as the bones of his feet crushed all at once. He howled as the crunching progressed up his lower legs, knees popping, then further still. By the time his thigh bones snapped in a gruesome compound fracture, his mouth just hung open.
and make you feel strong too.
And despite the magnitude of power coursing through me, I fell silent, unable to complete the sentence, unable to say it out loud.
Your own fucking child, Dad.
I took a deep, calming breath before willing the flesh of his face in alternate directions. A fissure formed first in the center of his forehead, then splintered down the bridge of his nose, ripping his face in two.
Your little plan worked, though, Dad. I did get pregnant. I got rid of it, of course.
I teased, leaning forward to add in a whisper.
I wonder if it was a boy.
He opened his mouth to fight back, but I was done listening.
They know I'm alive.
I demanded, widening the growing wound until the two sides had separated completely. They didn't, he sputtered, blood dribbling out of his lying mouth. But they sure as shit will now. They were on their way already. He was right. It wasn't wise to stick around. I pulled my knife from my back pocket, positioning the blade at one side of his neck before dragging it across his throat until I'd sliced him ear to ear. I could have killed him with my newfound powers, but this is something I wanted to do by hand. The relief it brought was short-lived. I returned to my car and immediately set a course back for home. I needed answers, and I needed them yesterday. I could no longer ignore the power of the illusion I'd experienced that morning. I'm hesitant to admit it even now, but I found myself back there on that cliff again in my father's house. The clamor of the waves pounding against rock drew me in, forcing me to step to the very edge, forcing me to stare into the sea far below. A feeling of unbridled hatred extended itself to me there. That time I didn't attempt to rid myself of the strange vision. That time I welcomed it. And I lost myself for a moment, surging with uncontrollable power. A mere spectator as his lower half was maimed. More than that, I said I wouldn't lie to you and I won't. But I did lie to my father. I didn't get rid of my child in that way, I'd insinuated. Part of me wanted to prove that I could be a better parent than he was. But I knew I couldn't. So, well, I gave him away. I sped down the highway home, infinitely more terrified than when I'd left. I needed to find the source of my letter. I needed to figure out what the hell the visions meant. I needed to know if I'd unwittingly opened myself to something sinister. And more importantly, I needed to know that my child was safe from this cult that so desperately wanted him. I need to find my son.
Man, all these stories are allergic to getting abortions. And, like, I just... girl.
You could have solved so much by just letting it go.
Literally, man. I just... Oh, God.
We're pro-choice here on Lots of Pasta. And the correct choice is almost always to abort.
Wait, can I be cancelable for a second?
I would love nothing more.
I'm actually pro-abortion. I'm like beyond pro-choice. I actually think that more people need to get abortions. There's actually not enough abortions.
Yeah,
happening.
You know what? I'm with you on that. If we look at the people who are having children, some of them should be told no.
No, literally, it kills me.
There should actually be like a system. You know, it's crazy that I have to say this. It's crazy that I have to admit this. But if you don't have the money or the livelihood or the criminal-free record or the predatory-free record or any sort of record, exactly,
or the ability to treat a child like a human being that
then you should be denied. There should be someone with 2 big stamps and 1 big red one should say abort.
Yep. And honestly, every time I see those things that are like,
we have to apply for much easier things in life.
Literally.
We have to apply for so much. Why don't we have to apply for that?
Literally. People are like, I'm not pro-abortion. I'm pro-choice. I'm pro-abortion. I'm pro-abortion.
You won me over. I was already implying that I felt that way, but you won me over.
No, for sure. If you're thinking about getting an abortion, get it. Just do it. Just get it. Just get a fucking abortion. Stop thinking about it. You're gonna be okay. Especially in a situation like this. Girl boss, get the fucking abortion.
Yeah, get the abortion. Yeah. I made it to 28, but now I have to save my child.
Ugh, boo, hiss.
Yeah, I know. And it's a boy, too. Like, she confirmed it. So
No, I'm just kidding.
we can't have
I'm just
anything good.
kidding.
Yeah, no.
I'm just kidding. I think boys are also okay people. Don't cancel me.
Thank you for all your comments and messages, making sure I'm staying safe, offering suggestions, highlighting potential clues, and bringing possible warning signs to my attention. You've been instrumental in my journey, not only to exist past 27, but to understand where I've come from, where I'm going, and how to make this all right. For me, that started with making sure my son was safe. After my now late father revealed a cult was breeding the women of my bloodline for sons, I was terrified for my own child. As I made the long drive back home, speeding far over the limit, yet somehow not quickly enough, questions plagued my mind. What could they possibly want with him? Had they already found him? What would they do to him, or what had they already done? They had already orchestrated the murder of my sisters and my mother. I wouldn't put it past them to harm him or me, now that they'd surely found the mangled body I'd left behind. Now, I didn't mention my son straight away because I don't think I have the right to call myself his mother. I gave birth to him almost 4 years ago, but I certainly had no part in raising him. I never expected to get pregnant in my life, and I certainly never expected to keep a pregnancy that was conceived through an assault. Damn.
Yeah, that's my thing, is that I just maybe I'm just like a cold, cruel, and callous person, but like could not be me.
This was the conversation we had at D&D the other night where I was like, no, sincerely, as you know, any of the women here at this table would be able to tell you, I don't think anyone who would be assaulted that way would be able to carry that child to full term.
Nope. I would not be able to. I mean, some people can.
And it really hurt me that we had a guy at the table that was like, no, you would. No, you would.
No,
A life is a life. A life is a life. And I'm like, no.
No, he was driving me nuts with that. I was like, you don't know me at all, Bessie. I'll kill that kid. I'm gonna go kill that baby.
Yeah, no. Part of me wanted to prove I could be a better parent than my father was. It's not enough.
It's not enough, girl boss.
In the months leading up to his birth, though, I knew I couldn't be that for him. I was terrified I would end up like my father, and it felt selfish to put my child through the same grief of losing a mother so young. Back then, I thought I still had an expiration date. That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense, actually.
I gave him up to a couple who couldn't conceive on their own. They were overjoyed to take him. I didn't want to hang around and confuse him, but his new parents agreed to maintain contact in case of medical emergency. I clung to this glimmer of hope on the trip home, knowing that as soon as I got back, all I needed to do was find their contact information. I'm already calling it they're a part of the cult.
Oh yeah, no, they're absolutely part
already
of the cult,
calling it.
For sure. Is that or they're about to be very dead.
Yeah, one of those two. It didn't take long.
Unimaginably dead.
Yeah, it didn't take long. Minutes after pulling into my garage, I was already dialing their number. I whispered soft pleas into the receiver as I waited for their answer. It was late by then, but this could not wait until morning. The line had almost rung through to voicemail when a confused woman answered with a groggy greeting. Immediately, words spilled from my mouth like vomit, jumbled and rushed. I wasn't about to tell her what happened, so I just told her I had a bad feeling about her son, that I needed to know that he was okay. Her long, exhausted sigh and hesitance to answer sent my heart racing. When she finally spoke, my blood ran cold. She offered an apology, saying that he'd been placed with another family a year prior due to unexpected behavioral issues. Mainly, he had a knack for breaking things no matter how closely they watched him. She attempted to reassure me by insisting she'd gone through an agency that actively sought out problem children, that he'd been placed with a family more up to the challenge. Why wouldn't you tell the birth mother this?
Also, like, I can't stand the idea that it's like, I'm not.
It was really hard being a parent, so I just gave him away.
So I just rehomed him.
Like a fucking bad animal. Yeah, like a pet.
No, literally. That's my thing. I'm just like I'm not saying that people don't do this, because I'm pretty sure there's been news stories of this actually happening, but that shit blows my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Because like you know how we just complained about people having kids that shouldn't have kids? If you adopt a kid, you really have to go out of your way to get that kid. You know what I mean? It's a lot of effort. Adopting is a ton of effort.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of effort. It's expensive. It's a whole thing. So you're going to go through all of that effort and all that expense. And then when your kid has some problems, like breaking stuff,
this wasn't the dream I expected it to be. Bye.
This one's a bad one. I want a good kid. I want a Ed kid.
Fuck
you.
off. She couldn't provide much information on his new family, but she'd said that he was still in state. Her answers were infuriatingly vague and non-committal. I knew I wouldn't get much more from her, so I hung up the phone after she agreed to forward me whatever information she had on the adoption and the name of the agency. A simple Google search made it clear that it wasn't a real organization in the first place. I spent the next few hours agonizing over the whereabouts of my son, leaving frantic messages at any agency I could find, though I knew they wouldn't hear them until morning. I tried to tell myself that perhaps the agency had just been renamed, but it seemed unlikely. I was left distraught and terrified for my child. Part of me knew that the cult had already had him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, they definitely do.
It took over a week of sleuthing, but I'm ecstatic to say that I did indeed find the location of my son with the meager information provided. He was still in state, but I live in a pretty large state, so another long journey. I made contact with his new mother, who agreed to a visit just so I could check up on him. Bitch, you are going to get sniped.
Yeah, literally, you're
Hornet's nest.
I'm gonna be real. She's starting to really piss me off.
Hornet meat nest. Yeah.
She's starting to really piss me off. I'm just like, babe, you are so far.
This is not a YA novel, you know?
You have so far made every single wrong decision, basically.
Between us, yeah. Really I'm sure there are people out there on Reddit who love this shit, but I'm not here for it.
I'm getting cranky. I'm me, an old woman.
Okay, maybe get some like chocolate in you and get like a warm blanket. Smoke some more weed.
I'm having calm down time. It's okay.
I thought maybe she understood the whole mother's intuition thing. I packed my things and piled into my car, setting off immediately. Only about 20 minutes in did I start to entertain the idea that this was most certainly a trap. Really, at that point. I'd had a bad feeling. Yeah, maybe. At this point, no. I had a bad feeling about going to my dad's, but I had the element of surprise on my side then, and that was certainly gone now. Pure terror circulated through my system that whole drive, my hands jittering and barely able to grip the wheel. In the late afternoon, I arrived at a beautiful house, one of those houses that seems too good to be true, one of those houses that you know is just a facade for familial dysfunction. I know because I used to live in one of those.
That's a really good line, actually. I like that line. I'm gonna give him props for that one. That was solid.
It's well written. I'm not knocking the author for anything they're doing. I'm knocking the protagonist for being a terrible MC.
Yes.
As I pulled up, I took a moment to ready myself in the car, as if I was waiting in the wings, rehearsing my lines one more time before going on stage. As I looked out, I swear for a moment I could see a figure in the window, something pale, watching. My blood ran cold. It didn't seem to move when I saw it. Instead, it cocked its head slightly, curious. Nervously, I exited the car and knocked on the door. A gaunt young woman in a white summer dress cracked it open. Oh.
Me.
Oh, hi. Laura? She squeaked, visibly flustered. She raked a hand of a bony finger through her stringy brown hair. She pulled the door wide open. I'm Catherine. Come on in. Tentatively, I trudged into the mansion on the thick soles of my combat boots, suddenly aware of how clunky I appeared in comparison to her. Light on her bare feet, she was as dainty and delicate as a daisy, yet a hollow look in her eye made her seem wilted. She'd led me to an immaculate kitchen, offered me a seat.
Sorry to bother you like this.
I began awkwardly, clearing my throat.
Where is he?
Oh, he's upstairs, she replied, wandering about the room to fix a couple glasses of water. Playing with Lucia, his sister.
Cool.
I answered, trailing off. It's most certainly not cool. Studying her features, I internally remarked at how similar we were in appearance despite our clear differences in mannerisms. Somehow, something seemed so familiar about her. When she turned her back to me to open a cupboard, it all became clear. A cluster of freckles on the back of her left shoulder, one that I'd always insisted gleefully looked just like the constellation Virgo.
Edie.
I breathed. She turned to face me. A brief moment of clarity flickered behind her sunken eyes before ultimately vanishing. Catherine,
Edie,
I pleaded.
it's me, your cousin Elle. I know we haven't seen each other since we were little, but if you're trapped, I can help you. Please come with me.
Drawing a sharp breath in, she responded almost as if rehearsed, recited. As a daughter of the precipice, it is my destiny, my honor, my place in order to be sacrificed.
Good God.
Before I had a chance to respond, she was already screeching at the top of her lungs. Help! Craig! Focusing on her body, I pushed her into the wall to hold her still, but the damage had already been done. I could hear hurried footsteps plodding down the stairs. An elderly man suddenly emerged in the doorway. Despite the unhinged expression on his face, I immediately recognized him from the old family photos I pored over in my youth, trying to get to know my mother, to get close to her.
Fuck's sake.
I sighed, a hapless attempt to disguise my fear as I recognized him as my grandfather, my mother's father. I took hold of him immediately, freezing him in place, yet found it difficult to maintain my attention on two living beings with free will at once. My grip wavered on between the two until I was able to maintain a consistent, albeit weaker, hold on both of them. My focus deteriorated entirely when a young boy crept out from behind my grandfather's frame, a pale young boy with chestnut hair and bright hazel eyes, full of curiosity, a young boy who appeared nearly identical to my own self at his age. Because he was mine. Do it now! My grandfather demanded, gesturing wildly in my direction. The child hesitated a moment before nodding mutely. He gave me a firm look that I immediately recognized, the one I'd used frequently since acquiring my powers. I braced myself for the impact, but nothing more than a slight vibration overcame me.
Stupid fucking kid. You don't even use your powers, right?
A weakened version of my own abilities, I assumed. Taking care to avoid the young boy, I returned my stare to my grandfather's body to gather him up in my hold once more. My heart almost stopped as I struggled to make contact with his form, as I realized I didn't have any power at all. I just looked like some stupid asshole glaring at an old man expecting something to happen. His reaction was one of shock too, but with an undertone of awe. I knew it, he stammered, gazing at my sudden paralysis of power, his initial joy escalating into uproarious laughter. It's been you all along! The prophecy, Catherine mused, pacing across the kitchen to get a closer look. The one who will put an end to the daughters. She called out to Lucia before kneeling on the tile floor before the boy, laying her forehead on the cool surface. A young girl, perhaps a year older than my son, with near white blonde hair popped in and followed suit. The whole charade made me sick.
You mean to wipe us all out?
I sneered, using anger as a front for my clear powerlessness.
Your own family?
He nodded his head contentedly in return.
As it has been foretold, the daughters of the precipice are a danger to this world. Too unruly, too unyielding, too powerful. Generations have passed down the promise that one day, one glorious day, a son will be born with the ability to rob the daughters of their abilities, to weaken them so they may be slain.
A wicked grin twisted his features as he ruffled the top of my son's hair.
And it will be you who delivered him to us.
And then what? You'll just keep killing any girls born in the future? Any girls alive now?
I stammered, looking forlornly, fearfully at Lucia.
You're telling me that you're gonna kill that little girl right there, right now?
The older man simply raised his eyebrows as if to communicate that he had no qualms in doing so.
As it has been foretold.
His complete detachment from humanity, from reality, left me trembling. I knew it'd all be over if I didn't act quickly. I gazed softly at the young boy.
Hey, what's your name, kid?
Kid. That's what I've always called him in my mind, just Kid. He'd often pop into my mind during the most mundane tasks, and I had no name to call him. I'd think, I wonder what Kid is doing. I wonder if Kid is okay. I wonder if Kid is happy. I wonder if Kid's family loves him. Blinking in confusion, he stuttered. Eli?
Eli, okay.
I breathed, holding my lips tight together to fight off tears.
I didn't want to tell you this way, Eli, but these people do not love you. They're using you to hurt innocent people like me, like Catherine, like Lucia. They killed my mom, my sisters. Please, please let me go so I can take you somewhere safe.
She's a liar, Eli.
The elderly man snapped, raving like an absolute lunatic. He drew an ornate blade from his waistband.
He just keeps that fucking thing on him, I guess.
We need to put her down. Put them all down, like the vermin they are.
His eyes welled over, and I could almost sense the internal battle raging within, tears finally starting to streak his face as the tingling sensation began to ebb. No, I like my sister. Eli's hold finally broke as he grabbed Lucia by her elbow to flee from the room. I filled the old man with my energy until he was unable to move, as still as a statue, driving my focus into the knife. I snatched it from him to suspend it in midair. I took a deep, calming breath before catapulting it in his direction. The blade was already out of my mental grasp by the time I realized Catherine had launched off of the floor to lunge in front of the man. You stupid bitch.
God damn it, Catherine. Ugh, these pygmies.
The weapon buried deep into her neck, taking her to the ground instantly. I scrambled to help her, only to realize I'd never healed before, and I certainly did not know how. She swatted my vague attempts away as she pulled the dagger out. I watched in horror as she plunged the blade back into her chest, gasping. A delighted grin spread across her face in her last moments. An overwhelming surge of anger flared within me, both at my grandfather and at myself for Catherine's demise. I closed my eyes to steady my emotions, but found myself back on the cliff as soon as I opened them, kneeling at its very edge. Whipping wind chapped my face as I gazed at the churning black rapids below. Just beneath the surface, I could get a clearer view of the shadowy mass below, dynamic in its shape, seeming to stretch and move in every direction, shifting constantly, amorphous and vague, yet clearly belonging to one of collective intelligence. Chittering whispers arose from below, the individual words indiscernible, yet the message entirely clear. Jump! I furiously shook my head in response to the command to rid myself of the enticing pull. Reality materialized back around me. A pool of blood had spread beneath me, soaking through the knees of my jeans. With the crash of the waves subsiding, I could hear a low, guttural moan behind me. I turned to find my grandfather in pieces on the floor, still alive yet clearly in agony. His top half was torn from his legs, which lay motionless across the room. Slick, visceral gore trailed from where he'd been severed, ragged and uneven. I rose to my feet to finish him off, though I'm afraid to admit I wasn't aware I'd even started in the first place. He whimpered as I followed the trail of blood toward him, but traded cowardice for fury once I crouched beside him.
They'll find you.
He strained through gritted teeth. His face was pale and covered in sweat.
As it has been foretold.
Let them.
I seethed before sending all my energy into his neck, snapping it with such a force that his head nearly spun.
As it has been foretold, my ass.
Listen, I hope you all will understand why I've been absent for so long after reading this. I'm now caring for not only my son, but for Lucia as well. I was surprised by their willingness to come with me after I slaughtered their previous guardians.
Damn.
But the children had sadly suffered abuse at their hands. It's been an adjustment for sure, but I'm committed to keeping them safe. I resolved to protect them as I drove them to their new home, as I knew we'd all be in danger of being found. I just didn't expect it to happen so quickly. As I pulled up to my place, I knew we'd already been found. I knew because a strange man was there, banging on the door.
Can we talk about how, this is Skyrim logic?
It is, yeah.
You literally just killed their parents and then you were like, hey, I can adopt you. I got a house with a bed. Come on in, kiddos. We're going to Lakeview Manor.
I only expected to go home with one kid, but two is fine, teehee.
It was fine. God. Okay. All right, let's bring this baby home. Part 4. I
Literally.
Literally, let's bring this baby home. I finally found the cult responsible for all their deaths. It's been one hell of a week, friends, and I've got a lot to update y'all on. I hope you'll forgive me if I rush through a lot. Like I said, there's a lot I have to say, and I have a job to get back to. Anyway, I believe last time I left off on arriving home with my trip to get my son, I ended up finding him with my shit stain of a grandfather, found out my son is some sort of prophecy, and I came home with not only my son, but with the little girl he's come to know as his sister, as well. Of course, I was happy to be reunited with my child, Eli, but I was terrified now that I knew he was so valuable to the cult behind the death of my mother and sisters. So I was understandably pretty freaked out to find a strange man knocking on my front door the minute I got home.
Laura, who's that?
Lucia squeaked from the back seat. I hadn't even realized that I'd stopped in the middle of the street. I swallowed my fear, pulled into the driveway, and stepped out of the car. Commanding the kids to stay inside, I locked the doors and approached the stranger. "Excuse me?" I barked, attempting to appear confident. I wasn't exactly out of the closet with my powers yet, so I was nervous about what could happen. "Who are you? Why are you here?" The man turned to face me, a grin plastered across his face.
Laura.
He replied almost nostalgically, as if he knew me. I was sure I'd never seen him before, and I think I'd recognize him if I had, considering the raised pink scar across his left cheek. He had the rough, rugged appearance of a man who'd seen too much. "Answer me," I demanded, gaze firmly locked on him. If he made any sudden movements, I had to be ready. He remained where he stood, seemingly attuned to my apprehensions.
It's me, Laura. It's Uncle Job.
I couldn't help but laugh at whatever mind games he was attempting as I hardened my stare, freezing him in place. I hadn't seen Uncle Job since I was little, but my memory wasn't that poor. It was my mother's twin. He had the same spattering of freckles across his pale face and light brown hair that she had, that I have. With his olive skin and tight salt and pepper crew cut, the man before me looked nothing like Job, nor anyone in my family. "Let's try that again," I breathed, inching closer to the stranger. "Tell me the truth." Within me as well. If they found me already, I knew I was screwed, but I'd have to deal with that later. The man was silent for a few long moments, and then he began to sing.
All the little girls dancing on the cliff tops, all their little bracelets jingling in the breeze.
He started the tune jaunty, strangely familiar.
All the little girls, suddenly the dance stops.
All the little girls jumped down into the sea. I finished, my eyes welling with tears. An old nursery rhyme I didn't even know I'd retained, one my Uncle Job had taught me while we reenacted the scene with my dolls. But wait, why is his appearance complete? Are you just buying this?
Age is just bad. Age is bad to this family. 27 years is a long time, Cannibal.
I guess. I relinquished my hold on him. Why? Why have you come?
I'm here to help, Elle. They're after you. Won't be long until they find what they're looking for.
He sighed, nodding his head towards the car, towards Eli. I knew I had to keep my guard up, couldn't trust anyone in the family anymore, but he was always so kind, so gentle, nothing like my father. Something in him seemed genuine. I made a split-second decision to hear him out. I ushered the kids out of the car and into the house and allowed Job inside. I was afraid I'd made the wrong choice, but I figured I'd at least be able to use the full extent of my powers if I needed to behind closed doors. I think Job knew it too. After getting the children settled down in my room for a nap, I sat Job down on the couch in the living area. I got him a glass of water, though I never let him out of my direct line of sight. It wasn't just me I had to worry about anymore. "Tell me everything," I rushed, pulling the chair to face him.
I know you have no reason to trust me.
He answered, a deep frown on his weathered face.
I wouldn't trust me either, but you have to understand. My father raised me to believe that the women of our family are evil. He raised me to believe in the prophecy.
Inhaling sharply through my teeth, I cut him off. Yeah, he told me about that before I killed him. Yeah. Job nodded almost enthusiastically, his eyes widening.
Good. Good riddance. He wanted me to fulfill the prophecy so badly, but when I didn't grow to display any powers, he appointed me as your mother's monitor.
The name itself struck fear into my heart. It had been monitoring me.
As your mother's monitor, I was to take an active role in her life, to keep tabs on her, to make sure she didn't escape before she turned 28.
But the remorse evident in his tone, both terror and anger surged within me. Who is my monitor? I asked reluctantly.
Your father.
Killed him too, I blurted, if only to settle my own nerves. Job smirked.
I probably would have been your monitor too, but I defected from the cult soon after you girls were born. Your mom was a fighter, so they made sure I kept a close eye on her. Ironically, spending so much time with her forced me to critically examine the ideologies my father had instilled in me until they started to unravel. And when I got to know you, and Joy, and Moira, I finally saw the truth. I couldn't comprehend the possibility of evil within you girls, knew it couldn't be right to snuff out the light you brought into the world. I started digging, found out some hard truths. Turns out I was being monitored too.
He stated with a sad laugh, tears pooling in his eyes.
I managed to warn your mother about the cult, the fathers of the precipice, before they removed me, before they killed her.
I shook my head vigorously, fearfully reminding myself that this could easily be a setup. Besides, there was still the matter of his appearance to clear up. How can I trust you? You don't even look like yourself.
When your mother was murdered, I lost my best friend. I wanted nothing more than to dismantle the fathers, but I knew they were looking for me. I scoured the internet for solutions. After years in hiding, I found just that in a strange boutique, one where you can walk out in an entirely new appearance.
He explained, gesturing to the new features he'd been granted.
I don't expect you to trust me. Your sisters didn't because they didn't recognize me, but I know you are my only chance at finding the father's cycle of killing now. Once and for all.
So he just got some hella plastic surgery?
Got some hella plastic surgery. He found it. He moved to California. He had a couple good years. Botox aplenty.
Okay, girl. Tentatively, I allowed myself to put my trust in him. I elected to keep Eli's power secret, terrified of what might happen if the man I'd let into our lives turned out to be just as bad as other family members I'd been reunited with recently. I was constantly on edge, felt as if I had to sleep with one eye open again. That kind of paranoia is all too familiar with me, like the curse I'd believed would take me all of my life was renewed. But this time, I knew the danger to my life, to Eli and Lucia's lives, to be real. As I got all the children accustomed to their new home, Job spent the next weeks attempting to infiltrate the fathers of the precipice, to discern the location of their headquarters. He'd insisted that many young boys were held captive there, guarded by the fathers. He painted a horrifying picture of the abuse he'd suffered there, the indoctrination forced upon him. Between strategizing with Job and playing with the children, I spent long hours training myself and bolstering my discipline. After I'd put the kids to bed one evening, I found myself plagued by guilt, recalling how Catherine had died at my hands, how I couldn't heal her. I chased the memory with 6 shots of vodka and spent the rest of the night alternating between dragging a razor across my skin and willing the wounds to shut to put my mind at ease. So she can heal.
I think she's figuring it out.
Okay. I must admit that despite the new powers I had at my disposal, I feared going up against so many people hell-bent against my survival. I was hard enough trying to control 2 people last time. I was terrified how I would fare against the dozens of men Job approximated would be waiting for me. But I knew I had to try, if what he said was indeed true. When Job shot out of his seat last week, I immediately knew that he'd found what he was looking for. He'd been perched on the chair in front of his computer for so long, I thought he might have grown attached to it. My uneasiness escalated to new heights as I understood he'd found the place where I'd meet my fate, whether good or bad. He called me over to show me his screen. He typed in the address to show an image of my destination. A sprawling green lawn out front, towering white mansion. It was almost a day's drive away, but within reach. And although I was scared out of my mind of what might await me there, I wanted to go. I needed to finish what I'd started. Job and I made arrangements to leave the next morning, though we argued over how to handle the children. I didn't trust anyone to watch them, yet I refused to take them with me. They wanted Eli more than they wanted me, and I knew they wouldn't hesitate to kill Lucia. It seemed like there was no solution. I insisted on going alone, but Job wouldn't hear it. We agreed to settle it in the morning, so I put the kids to bed while Job laid down to rest on the couch. I slipped out of the house in the middle of the night. It was certainly a risk.
First smart thing she's done.
Yeah, so far. It was certainly a risk leaving the children with Job, but I'd come to realize that he was the only person I felt like I could trust. I again feared this was a misstep, but I prayed otherwise. I set a course for the mansion that housed the Fathers of the Precipice and quietly pulled out of the driveway. I realized that each time I update you, although I mention how terrified I am as I make whatever trip I'm on. This time, though, I felt like I was nearing closer to death with each mile covered. I worried constantly about Eli and Lucia. I wanted nothing more than to come home to them, so I resolved to do just that, though it seemed overly optimistic, naive.
One thing I would say is Job would be able to offer support in the way of like firepower, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
If he is as hellbent as he says he is, I mean, showing up with like a fucking AR-15, you know.
Yeah, I feel like the ideal...
Let's put the precipice over the edge.
Yeah, let's just fucking... Honestly, like, just bomb the fucking house. Oh, well, there's a bunch of... Wait, there's a bunch of kids there. Never mind. Whoopsies. Ugh, no war crimes on children, please. Israel's doing enough of that for us.
We're good.
We're good. We don't need more. All right. As I drew closer to my destination, I found myself panicked, jittery. I'd pulled over to nap in my car, but it was a restless sleep. Still, the sooner I was finished with the Fathers, the sooner I could return home. I parked about a mile away, opting to walk the remaining distance. The estate was even more lavish in person than the pixels on Job's screen could possibly display. I felt dwarfed by its size and feared it as if it were some massive predator, its enormous arched door, the mouth I was willingly striding towards. This time, though, I wasn't looking for answers, wouldn't be asking any questions. Job had instructed me where I needed to go to rescue the children. I thrust the door open to find a large entryway with 2 marble staircases leading up to an overhang on the second level. A man stood, frozen on one of the steps. I snapped his neck with no hesitation.
Fuck yeah.
Within minutes, within seconds, more men spilled onto the second floor balcony before clambering down the stairs. One drew a gun, pointing it at my chest. I redirected his aim before forcing him to empty the chamber into his mouth. Forced another one off an overhang, slamming him face first into the marble flooring, but they kept coming. One after another, closer, closer. I took out a few more by releasing the chandelier from the ceiling to crush them, but as soon as I felt I had the upper hand, more trickled downstairs. More came at me from the hallways on either side of me. Panicked and overwhelmed, I felt a pair of arms seize me from behind. Saw the herd of men closing in on me, their faces warped with hatred and disgust. I shoved as many of them away as I could, but I was merely buying time. And I was barely doing that, considering how many were surrounding me. Too many to control on my own. Each attempt grew feebler, weaker, as I felt myself fatiguing rapidly. Why wouldn't you bring a gun?
I wasn't going to say a gun. I was going to say, why not bring something? I'm
100 guns.
In my head, well, no, I'm thinking more creatively. I was thinking, why not bring, like, blades? Like, I'm talking, like, even, like, saw blades.
Yeah,
Because then
true.
you telekinetically, you control the saw blade to just fucking run a house. You turn the house into
smart.
a fucking lawnmower.
You're just like, all right, we're just gonna we're making a lumber mill.
Yeah, I'm reminded of, the engineer from DC. How she uses, like, she makes her hands turn into, like, fucking chainsaws.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. I knew it was over then. Yet as I began to accept my fate, I started to hear the faint sounds of waves breaking against tough rock, of wind whistling around. My surroundings began to fade, giving way to that same old scene that tormented me since I first received my powers.
Unleash the beast. Come on.
Yeah, literally. This is the time, babe. There was a shelf of rock, the churning black rapids down below, the whipping wind, but there was something else there this time, something that chilled me to the bone. There were girls, not just little girls, but teenagers and young women too, all in flowing white dresses with gleaming silver adorning their wrists. At first sight, it seemed almost as if they were dancing in constant movements, moving in pairs, switching partners. All the little girls dancing on the cliff tops. The horrified looks on their faces made it clear, though, that this was not a joyous occasion. They were saying goodbye. Their gowns thrashed about in the wind as they whispered softly to one another, tears streaking their faces. In lieu of embracing, they reached out to hold one another's hands in theirs tenderly before moving on to the next. This was all they could do. Their wrists were shackled. All the little girls, bracelets jingling in the breeze. A man's bellow pierced through the tragic scene, startling both me and the group gathered on the cliff. Just behind me, a collection of men began to advance upon the women and girls, brandishing their knives in their hands. I leapt back at the sight, but they didn't seem to notice me, only seemed to care about all of the women and girls in white. All the little girls, suddenly their dance stops. They continued forward as the first of the girls jumped, relentless in their pursuit until, screaming in horror, they all launched themselves off of the precipice. And all the little girls jumped down into the sea. I rushed forward to stare over the edge of the cliff, watching in terror as the girls thrashed wildly in the water, drowning. Their collective fear, despair, and anger overwhelmed me, the power of their emotions nearly suffocating. Wailing, I beat one fist into the tough rock beneath me as one by one they tired, their bodies ceasing to sink deep below. The sea enveloped them until it appeared to me just as it had before, the dark, churning rapids, so fearsome, yet at the same time, so inviting. There was no time for second guessing. I threw my arms above my head and dove off the cliff.
Finally.
I plunged head first into brisk, briny water as the sea swallowed me whole. I propelled myself deeper, closer to whatever had been coaxing me down all of this time. Forcing my eyes open, I recoiled as I realized I was not alone. The fallen girls and women swam in a torrent around me, their corpses now bloated and discolored, flesh peeling and hanging off bone in several places. The original Daughters of the Precipice forced off the cliff before they could age into their powers. Urging myself even further into the dark water, I nearly opened my mouth to gasp as I saw Moira and Joy swimming alongside me, their gruesome appearances still jarring, though their presence was oddly comforting. Moira extended a finger to point. I followed the trajectory with singing eyes. All my apprehensions came screeching to a halt as a figure came into view. It was my mother. Beaming, she reached her hand up from the depths. I extended mine in turn, kicking my feet to hasten the connection. As soon as my hand grazed hers, a surge of electricity raced through me, startling me. She gave me an encouraging nod, and I clasped onto her hand, holding it tight in my own. I returned to reality at the father's mansion with a splitting screech. The men backed away, their hands clapped over their ears. A power, unlike any I'd ever known or felt before, flowed out of me, as I faced each of my attackers with renewed energy. I felt my hand plunge into one of the man's chests to crush his beating heart inside him. I felt my energy fill an assailant's brain with so much energy it overheated it to explosion, blood dribbling from his ears as he crumpled to the ground. I felt myself shred 5, 10, 15 more attackers with less energy than it takes to flick on a light switch.
Hell yeah.
With my attackers taken care of, I took a deep breath in, slowly exhaling the rage and power granted to me by the Daughters of the Precipice. I needed to be in control when I found the children, though I feared a second wave of fathers likely awaited me. I quietly padded across the room. I noticed one of my assailants, still clinging to life, his eyes wide and breath shallow. Directing my glare at him, I flipped his body over, leaning him face down to drown in a thick pool of his comrade's blood. It seemed fitting. I followed Job's directions down the hallway to a locked door. Bursting the lock with a pointed stare, I crept down the stairs the door revealed, anxious for what might await me. What I saw down there, well, it was much worse than I ever anticipated. The room was nearly empty, no children, no people, save for one man, sitting, waiting. He just laughed at my shocked expression, my fear for the children.
Not what you were expecting.
My heart began to race. So it was a trap. Job lied to me, and I'd left my children with him.
You're just like all the other daughters. You think you're so smart. Think you're better than us.
He rambled, shaking his head incredulously.
We knew you would find us. Knew you'd be stupid enough to come here yourself. We placed all the boys in homes. We couldn't risk you coming here to slaughter them all. The prophecy will be fulfilled, as it has been foretold.
It was my turn to laugh, scoffing at his assumption that I'd come to kill innocent children. Prophecy's been fulfilled, all right, I muttered, immobilizing him in my hold. I didn't know what tricks he might have had up his sleeve, so I couldn't be too careful. My son is the prophecy, yet he's stronger, smarter, and more compassionate than any of you. When the moment of truth came, he thought for himself. He let me go. The cycle is over.
You're wrong.
He spat, glaring.
The others are still out there. They will continue to breed and slaughter you like livestock, believing the prophecy remains unfulfilled. They will find you. They will kill you. And they will take your son.
Frozen place as I realized he was right. I thrust his head into the wall behind him before running out of the mansion to get my vehicle. The return trip was no easier than the trip here. I felt as if I had to be the one on constant surveillance. First of all, I had no idea what I was coming home to. A worst-case scenario ran through my mind on repeat. Job has killed Lucia, taken Eli, and alerted more of the fathers to my location. More likely than not, they would already be there. I was so tired. I didn't have much fight left in me. I should have stopped to sleep, paused to recharge for the attack I knew awaited me, but there was no time to waste if my children were in danger again. The thumping sound coming from my trunk showed I had even less time than I had originally hoped. I finally pulled back into my driveway. The front door swung open. I jumped in my seat, bracing myself for the onslaught I knew I was unprepared for. Instead, Eli ran out, followed by Lucia, then Job. Thrust the door to my car open and stumbled out of the vehicle to meet them crumbling with exhaustion on the paved ground. Eli wrapped his arms around me, tears running down his face.
Don't leave again.
He cried. Weakly, I held him close as I finally allowed myself to process all that had happened within the past month, to finally grieve the losses I'd faced. Years of my life I'd lost to a false curse, the lives I'd taken. Heaving sobs racked my body as Lucia joined the embrace. I snaked one arm around her shoulders. Uncle Job kneeled on the ground behind me to run an open palm out of my back, comforting me. A series of loud thumps rocked the back of the parked car, sent me into a panic. I whipped my head around to glance at Job over my shoulder. "We're not safe," I whispered. "Get the kids inside." He did as I asked. Once I was alone again, I opened the garage door to pull my car inside. Popping the trunk open, I stared down at my captive, the man from the basement. He was bound and gagged, struggling furiously against his restraints. I rammed his head against the floor of the trunk until he was out cold again. I'd come back for him later. I needed a hot shower and a warm meal and some time with my family first. Girl.
Priorities.
Like I said before, he was right. There's still more out there. Still more fathers using the daughters as incubators for a prophecy that already come. A prophecy of hatred and fear that I will end with all of the compassion and love I have for my son. All of the humanity that exists within him the fathers couldn't steal. There are still more fathers who would come to harm my family, and more innocent children in their clutches. In the days since, I've been using my powers to extract information from my captive, healing him just as he starts to slip away. Job and I have already confirmed 3 homes for me to visit once I've gotten enough rest. I'm exhausted, physically, mentally, emotionally, and I'm tired of using my powers to harm, but I know I can't stop yet. I know there are more out there like me, more innocent women, more innocent children, and more defectors like Job, too. I can't rest until I find and free them all, until I ensure the safety of my family, and I'll make damn sure that every woman and girl in my family, every daughter of the precipice, makes it to age 28. The end.
And that is the end. I stopped to see if there were more by this author. There are not. That is interesting. It's interesting. I'm of two minds. I did like it. First off, it was fine.
I'm still deciding.
I
How
think
I,
I
feel about
wanted
it.
something more existential, and unfortunately, it went to Stranger Things.
It did, yes.
I wanted
sure did.
I wanted Edith Finch, and instead I got 11 from Stranger Things.
Literally.
Yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed isn't the right word, because I do think it was written well. I think it's still, it did a beginning, middle, and end. It didn't align with my expectations, because the title in part 1 went so wildly in a direction I didn't expect it to, that I couldn't help but just be like, okay, well, I guess I'm along for the ride.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sorry, maybe we're just too emotional as people to put so much depth into our 45-minute conversation before we jumped into the story, but I really did think it would be more about death.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And it's kind of more like an X-Men story.
It is. It's definitely giving them X-Men origins. I like.
What if Magneto had a vagina?
Literally, I'm like, I think that I'm kind of torn about this one, because I'll start with the good. So I like the idea, because like if we're talking about, because I mean this, I'm not sure if this story is intended to be like a nuanced, like a nuanced take on like gender and like
say what you want to say. Yeah, no, it's
and
fine.
generational trauma. But I think that there is something to be said about like, having a cycle of like gendered violence in your family, and then having a son and being like, no, my son is good, and he can be good if I give him the chance to.
By rape, first off.
Right. Yeah, literally. Son conceived. Like, I think that there's something to be said about being like, no, like my son, I love my son, and I know my son is a good person. And like, just because you guys think that you have to be bad to the women in the family doesn't mean that he has to be. And I appreciate that. I think that there is something to be said about that, like thematically, about how the only person who could undo his mother and kill her decides not to, because he loves her and because she loved him enough. Like I appreciate that. I think that that's not a bad thing. I like the idea also of her uncle being like, you know what? No, actually, I don't think this is true. I don't want to be like that. I want to.
Free
I love
will.
my nieces.
Yeah,
I love
giving each of these people a personality to do what they want. I think I agree with you on this. I think what I'm missing is the emotion behind it.
Yes, because I think it's all happening too fast.
It was way too fast.
Like she gave him up for adoption. Never mentions him at all in the beginning of the story. He's also conceived violently.
But also doesn't recognize him even when she does get him back. We don't get a single sequence where she's like, and then I sat down with my son and I explained things, and I explained why I had to give him up, and I explained where I came from, and I explained my life, and that I was sorry for abandoning him, and blah, blah. Like, there was none of that. It was plot.
And he's also just like cool with her killing his caregivers as well. And like, I understand if
we're brushing a lot of stuff under the rug. Yeah,
we're brushing a lot of stuff under the rug.
Just to get the rug out the door.
Right. No, exactly.
Cost?
And I think there's so much focus on this like plot thing. It's like, it's almost like they
action.
Like action. They're like, no, I want this to happen. And then you're like, okay, but like, why does this happen? And it's like, it doesn't matter. It happened. Because
let's take a beat. Yeah, let's take a beat to feel what we're actually doing here.
I think that there's a sort of, I'm curious about the author of this as well, because I'm sort of like I think that there's a misunderstanding here, both of maternal instinct, first of all, because like it's odd to me that this woman who has been completely isolated for her entire life experiences a violent assault, gives up the baby for adoption. Like it's odd to me that she's just suddenly like, nope, I have powers and also I'm a mommy now and everything's okay. Like it's
Yeah.
very jarring to
Well,
me.
I just think it's YA idealism.
Yes, it is. It's
If I'm
definitely
gonna be the MC of my story, then she's gonna be strong and she's never gonna
Yes.
give up and she's gonna come into everything
Mm-hmm.
with the same willingness to persevere. It's like
yes.
people don't exist this way.
And my other thing,
No one is Captain America.
but also though, I think I could have even bought that, right? Like I could buy the whole like, no, this is a YA protagonist who like perseveres no matter what, if the entire first part of the story wasn't talking about her doing the opposite of that.
Oh yeah, the agoraphobia.
Like she was not,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like she
You
was
open
not
with
persevering.
agoraphobia. Yeah.
Yeah, she's literally living in a hole by herself.
Yeah.
And I don't get me wrong, I understand that like world-shattering revelations and stuff like that can change a person, but it just happens so fast. So fast.
Yeah.
And like I'm just like, oh shit, okay, so we're undergoing an entire personality transplant. Also, you're a mom now. Also, your uncle's alive and has a different face. There's too many like also MacGuffins, I think, happening where it's like, oh, your uncle is here and he's gonna help you. And
at
his
about
face
the
is different.
second on part 2, I actually said to myself, not out loud, I didn't want to interrupt. She hears me. She knows I'm here.
She just woke up, and so she's yeah.
I was
Heard about
telling
her episode
myself that
appearance.
even going into part 2, we were moving the goalpost.
Yes.
This was no longer a story about necessarily being a woman.
Right.
This was no longer a story about facing death.
Mm-hmm.
This was now just a, no offense, run-of-the-mill YA dealing with a cult.
No, it really
Superpower
was.
X-Men Brotherhood thing going on.
Yes, no, I totally agree. It got so generic so fast.
Yeah,
And, like-
I don't even really like throwing the word generic around, but you're not wrong.
Yeah, I don't like throwing around generic either because like, you know, blah blah blah, there are no original ideas. And like that is true, but it just like and it's because I felt like there was something,
I don't know. We
think
say
because
that, but it's episode 310, and we just had a special where all of us came to the table writing something almost entirely original. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I would say that there are no original ideas left. This was a hodgepodge of all the YA stuff that is currently popular.
Yes, no, literally, it's very much giving like well, it's funny because like certain subcultures and things go through like trends, just like every other part of our lives goes through trends. Like you get trending, you know, we have trending like horror tropes, we have trending like creatures. We've talked about that before. You know, YA stuff absolutely goes through trending moments. Like for a while when I was a teenager, everything was YA dystopian. Everything was YA dystopian because we had the Hunger Games and Divergent and all of this shit.
Maze Runner,
and
all that shit, yeah.
Yeah, all Maze Runner. God, I forgot about Maze Runner. Look at me, I'm the worst.
What was the other one? Did you say Divergent?
Yeah, Divergent.
Yeah, that's the other one I was thinking of.
God, I hate that fucking book series, but that would be an entire episode
Didn't
on
even
my
read
own.
it.
So
Didn't even
I
read
won't.
it.
Don't bother. Worst ending of any book series I've ever read, honestly.
Yeah.
Which is really saying something because I've read some real fucking stinker.
Yeah.
But it's definitely very much giving like like you said, it's very much trending like Stranger Things, like, and I just like, I don't know, I'm just disappointed, I think, because love a story about I'm super into the idea of like exploring, gender and like generational cycles of violence and things like that and all of that. And I think that it sort of touched on those things, but there was no real depth to it. It was just like, yeah, like we kill women because they've got power. Haha.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, and it's just like, okay, yeah, it's like when you're in art school and a girl does a fucking another painting of a vagina, and you're like, okay, what about it? And she's like, and it's titled like feminism or like female power or
Fuck
something,
right
and you're like,
off.
fucking great. I
And
swear to
the
God.
minute you try to critique it, the female professor's just like, you don't get it.
No, literally. Or alternatively, the artist is like so offended or upset. And I'm just like, girl, I remember
Oh
doing
my
this
god.
this actually happened to me in a printmaking class when I was a senior. And like, I was really, I won't get into it. I won't trauma jump on a podcast.
It's okay.
But
I'm here for it.
I was having a really bad time my senior year in college, and I was very sick. And with a fresh PTSD diagnosis. And when I say fresh, I mean when we had this critique, I might not yet have received the PTSD diagnosis.
I'm coming out of my cage and I'm outside my cage and I hate all the cage and I hate everything.
And I'm going back in my cage.
And I'm going back in my cage and I'm not feeling fine.
Exactly. And so I was like sitting there in a haze, like less than an hour of sleep. Literally I couldn't eat anything because I was like vomiting. So I literally vomited before class, went inside, was sitting there, and then it was time for critique, and some fucking girl put up a goddamn vagina. And I remember sitting there staring at that vagina with my head pounding and my eyes burning. And I was literally like, I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna fucking do it, Shaggy.
Gonna do it. And then when it came to critique, I raised my hand and I was like, I literally was just like, why?
Did a look of forlorn terror strike the female artist?
Honestly, she was like, I was literally just like, why? And then she like launched into this super long-winded explanation, and then I disassociated and didn't say anything for the rest of the critique.
Yeah, okay. You put her on edge. It was enough.
Just like, I was literally just like, I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired of this. And that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from the story, where I'm just like, great, another vagina, and she's wearing combat boots, and she's not like other girls, but I'm glad that
I'm not like other girls.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I will say though, they didn't fully go into I appreciate that they didn't fully go, not like other girls. I'm glad that they didn't do that at least.
Yeah, but not for want of trying. The plot wasn't necessarily about that.
No, it wasn't.
The plot started with we're not other women. My family has other women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think like I'm happy that they didn't go that direction, but I think that they still were like in the same room as that direction. You know what I mean? Like they didn't fully commit to the bit, but they're definitely waving at it from like a few feet away.
Yeah.
If that makes
1,000,000%. Yeah, they're neighbors. They're neighbors.
Yeah, they're neighbors. They're not living in the same house, but they're
different
damn close.
Plot thread. Yeah.
Exactly. Ultimately, would I read the story again? No.
Listen, the show is not meant as a platform with width to bash.
No.
To bash authors. That's not what we're doing.
No, definitely not. I will say it was the actual quality of the writing was solid is my thing. Like there was some really great lines in there. There was pretty solid like visceral descriptions. Like the actual structure of the writing is very solid.
Yeah. No. And like I was saying, like this isn't the point. We're not saying this was bad. We're saying that this did not align with how hard the title goes.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this person set out with a song in their heart to say, I want to write the story. I want to write the female equivalent of Chronicle. And I hope people like that. But the title suggests familial trauma.
Yes.
This isn't what that story is. You know,
Right.
you can't name a story. I don't know. What's a shitty example? I want to say something Holocausty, like the children of the Holocaust. You know, just you can't name a story the children of the Holocaust and then have it be about fucking Magneto being a child of the Holocaust and then going on a revenge killing spree where he kills all of his Nazi captors, X-Men First Class style. The title does not deserve the plot. The plot does not deserve the title.
Yes, I agree. There's
a disassociation
yes.
between the two. And maybe it's just where I was at, and maybe it's a little bit of baggage I'm bringing into it. I've been sitting on this story for a very long time. I originally wanted to read this with another woman who's been on the show, but she just never came back for another episode. So I've just I've putted it down the way. And I originally wanted to read this with Kitty. We weren't able to. We focused. I asked her if she wanted to read one long story or a couple of short stories. And the last time she was on, she wanted to read shorts. So we read shorts.
Yeah.
So it's just like, this has been sitting in my baggage, in my literal baggage on my desktop, in my lots of pasta file for years. I want to say years. Let me go back into the history of when this was written. I had it pulled up at one point. All the women in my family die at the age of 27. 5 years ago, this was written.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
6 years ago, actually. 6 years ago.
Wow, I didn't realize. That's crazy. Okay.
6 years ago, this was written. This was pre-COVID.
You know what? I'm happy to hear that, because I feel like my thing is like, did I like this story? Not really. But
it's because of the stuff we've seen over the last 3 or 4 years that makes you say this is just more of the same.
I also think that I'm just like, I'm old and tired, you know, like I'm a 30-year-old woman and I'm reading this story about dying at the age of 27, and I'm reading about, like, you know, kicking ass and like killing cults and things like that. And so I'm like, yeah, whatever. But how do you feel about dying? And so like, I definitely I think I just want to recognize that, like, I just might not be the intended audience for this story.
That's also fair.
And I think that that's totally cool. But because it was written that long ago, I am kind of curious to see what this author is doing now, because the quality of the writing was really good. And I think my thing is that I do feel like those kinds of themes and topics were touched on. We did touch on like gendered violence. We did touch on like generational curses. We did touch on like the dynamics of like childhood and like conditioning and like what that does, and whether or not you can love somebody enough to overcome this kind of like societal conditioning. But I think that it just sort of lacked depth, right? It's like we kind of broadly touch on it and then we move on because we got to kick more guys in the teeth for the plot. And so I'm curious. I'm just curious what they're doing now, because I think there was like potential, and I think there's a lot of potential to like really get into these kinds of themes and stuff like that. And I'm curious if maybe they've gone that way, or if they just want to write some sick ass action stories. And hey, if you just want to write some sick ass action stories, fucking more power to you, man.
The last thing I'm seeing on, I assume, her page, because the user's name is Her Creation. The last thing I see written, 2021.
Okay.
Just giving a look to the list here. It looks like they had a long-standing series for a while from 2019 onward. That started in November of 2019 that they've really gone hard on and came back to a bunch of times. That's not what we read. This was called the Birthday series, and this was just a short-lived 4-parter that started in 2020.
Okay.
June of 2020. It looks like she has a lot of standalone stories, of which I'm seeing June 21 was the last thing she submitted. That stands out to me. June 21 might be the last thing I've seen. I don't know. I don't believe I've read anything by this author before. Again, I'm not knocking them. I liked the story. For what it's worth, I liked the story. I think I came into it. I think I am gonna take a little bit of that blame myself for kind of putting my own preconceived notions on how hard that title went. It was just a really good title. I've been staring at that title for 5 years. It makes me think that I might have been putting a little bit more of myself into that. But I'll take a little bit of my foot off the gas there and just say that the story was well written, and I love a good cult. I have no problem with cults. In fact,
I love a good cult.
In fact, a lot of games all the time. A lot of the, for relevancy, I don't necessarily want to get into. A lot of the child abduction by a cult of men is pretty fucking relevant right now. Yeah, no, and 5 years ago, that probably would have seeded a little bit deeper.
I was kind of thinking that, especially when it was like, oh, they live in this big, shiny, fancy mansion.
And she comes running in and all the kids are gone and there's just one dude in a chair sitting there like, yeah, I'm using my telekinesis powers to saw blade all these dudes.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know, I'm one of those people sitting here saying, let's get the guillotines back out.
Oh no, I've literally been calling for public shootings. Like, I want them gone. I want to see it happen. Yeah, it's not good enough, honestly. Like, I don't want none of this fucking he died in jail bullshit. Like, no way. I need to see it happen. I won't be satisfied until I see that happen.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be satisfied. And I don't know if anybody will. But
I don't want anyone to be. Yeah, for sure.
No, and I do. I think that I will say I have to say I think there is like an element of catharsis in being able to be like, oh yeah, I just fucking like ripped all these guys' bones apart. That was cool. And I'm like, yeah, that was cool actually. And
yeah, but it's cool as far as like a 13-year-old playing Doom.
Yes.
It's cool in that way. I don't know if it's cool, like you said, to a couple of 30-year-olds who've been reading No Sleep Stories for 10 years.
Who've been reading No Sleep Stories and now are being inundated with file details every day.
Yeah, you know, I just there's a pathway where this could have, I don't know, if we had read this 3 or 4 years ago, would my opinion have changed? Probably not. I still thought the title was going to go in a different direction, but I don't mean to harp on it anymore. I still kind of liked it. I've read some dog shit on this show before. Like it wasn't dog shit.
No, it definitely wasn't. I don't think. Yeah, I would probably, if I was gonna do like a star rating, I would probably do like out of 5. I think it would be like a 2 out of 5 for me.
Yeah,
because like there's still like, and if we were going up for 10, I would say it was a solid like 5
or 6. Yeah.
Yeah, 5 out of 10. I'm like,
with
okay,
you.
yeah.
I'm with you. Like the story storied. It didn't resonate with me, and I expected more. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why I do question whether or not I'm the audience for the story for sure. But I think that also
you can't really, it's not an argument for no sleep though, because that's the thing with the internet is when you're posting these things like publicly for free online, like there isn't gonna be an audience. You kind of have to be. You have to be
Your
prepared.
Audience is whoever finds it.
Yeah, you have to be prepared for the outcome that maybe you never find your audience. You know.
Well, that's another question though, right? It's like, okay, so like let's say you make this art and it's for like an intended audience or whatever, and it's like, okay, sure. So this art is for an intended, like how much does that matter though? You know what I mean? Like, did your intention matter when you were making it, or is how it's received and who receives it what matters?
I'm looking at this and I'm seeing this person didn't. This person wrote because they wanted to tell this story. This person did not write for this person did not write for the audience.
And you know what? Hell yeah. I mean, that's why I write things. I write fucking monster sex for what I want to write. And so, you know what? If you want to write about ripping up a cult full of weirdos, then like, you know what? Good for you. I think we could use more of it.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Respect, honestly.
Yeah, I'm here for it. Like I said, it belongs on the show. It did perfectly fine. It did what it wanted to do. Yeah.
It did. It did. It did.
I just can't help that you and I go to much deeper, darker places with one another.
I know.
And we can't help but want that out of our stories.
No, exactly. We're like,
so this is where I tell everyone to go back and re-listen to the 300 special where they could read your story, my story. We could get into those deep, dark places together.
We definitely can. What's the Scott Pilgrim? We are lots of pasta, and we're here to make you think about death and get sad stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, definitely.
Isn't that right? Yeah. I don't know if you could hear her, but she's just yelling.
I heard her earlier. Yeah. Any finishing thoughts? Anything you want to say before we end the episode?
Live fast, eat ass, smoke grass.
Yeah, we did finish the 300th with that one.
Oh shit! So I already said that. So now I have to
no. It's a solid enough sentiment to continue forward into this year of our Lord 2026.
It's true. You know, I finished my second book
Congrats.
last year. Thank you. And I'm starting on my third one now. And I think I'm literally writing my third one like now, like not like right this second, but like I have a February writing challenge I'm trying to meet. So I don't know. Whether or not the story was for me, I think that all stories are worth writing and worth reading in their own ways. And so I think that if I were going to close this, I would be like, and especially knowing that people are sending us stuff, like, please send us stuff.
Yeah, no, that was a big plot point, a big message with the last episode, because it was the first of 2 planned Patreon episodes where all that we read is stuff that people from our Patreon submitted. And this is just to go over because I can't say it enough. Join our Patreon. It's only $1 at the lowest tier. The stuff that's going up there is going to be exclusive. I have a lot of new stuff that's going to go there specifically for our subscribers. It's nothing crazy. It might go up on the YouTube when I'm like done with the show as an eventuality, but for right now I'm going to put some exclusive stuff up on there that I've recorded with other people. And they also tend to get the episodes sooner than public. I tend to put them up there almost like the minute I finish them. So that's sometime like a week or 2 in advance. So if you like our show and you want to support us, there are 5 different tiers of subscribers on there. And I'm happy to say that more than half of the people that are signed up there are our highest tier, which is like $10 a month. I'm not asking that by any means. I think it's fun.
Aww.
I think it's fun to say that we have like 7 or 8 people and they're helping keep this show alive. And as long as I have people doing that, I don't feel the need to stop. So there's, I know that I have my people and I know that I have my support. So I'm going to keep doing this for as long as I have that. But it also is a part of me where it's like, I want to give the control, at least a little bit of the reins away from time to time. And that's where I shout out to anyone that found us, through Patreon, or anyone who found us online and became a Patreon subscriber. And then I brought them into the show. Like, that's a big shout out to Kitty. Kitty found us. Kitty started paying on Patreon and I immediately brought her into the show. We interviewed one of our fans before the Kitty. 300th. I want to say it was 298, 299. I recorded an episode with a fan, just kind of asking them questions about how they found us, why they like us, like what they get out of listening to us, just to kind of put that out there. So that's a shout out to Barbara Manatee. She's fantastic.
Love you, Barbara.
And it's, the last episode was a shout out to Hal.
Love you too, Hal.
Another shout out to Trevor the Werefishy. I'm sure Trevor and I are going to read something at some point. He submitted a story to us that I plan on reading on the next Patreon episode. But like, that's, you're a part of the conversation when you're on our Patreon, and I want it to be a point to say that when you are up there, you are recognized. I have you on the credit of every episode. You're a reason I'm doing this. I hope you guys know that you guys are keeping this alive. I probably wouldn't be doing this if I did not have Patreon people making it easy for me to pay for this. Like, because I have to pay to keep this show going, and it is now 100% crowdfunded.
Yay!
So it's like as long as that is happening, I will keep doing it because I found my people, you know? So,
yes.
So that's where I say it's, you know, $1 a month minimum, and then it goes up in increments of 2 until it gets to 10. So it's 1, 3, 5, 7, and 10. So it's just like, I'm not asking for anything. Whenever I talk about Patreon, I feel like I'm sitting here on the side of the highway with my cup out. But like, truthfully, we're already at the part where I put the cup away and I'm at home, comfy. So it's like, join us if you want more of this, is what I'm saying. There's more content there than there is anywhere else. So,
but if you want to send me like $200, you totally.
But also
can.
that, yeah.
Just so you know, like it's a
go to
it's
our
like
coffee account, coffee.com, KOFI. Find lots of pasta. I believe it's under El Muerte, Capitan El Muerte, and just send me your money. That would be great too.
Yeah, send me your money. Send me your money. I will
send
use it.
Me your money.
Send me your money. Fuck this podcast. I'll use it for evil.
Oh, that's
you know
so
how
good.
You know how people always tell you not to give money to houseless people because they'll buy drugs with it. I want you to know right now that if you give me your money, I will buy drugs with it. So you can be assured you know where it's going.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, give me your money. I will buy drugs with it.
I will buy drugs with it. Maybe alcohol as well. Who's to say?
Different day.
Who's to say? I think that's a great place to close it.